26. 2000 hours in the evening. Inside the History of Magic classroom. Cuthbert Binns, who was behind the podium, was giving a lecture with his eyes half closed, standing on tiptoes and swaying slightly back and forth. Cedric in the audience was writing furiously. However, he was not doing his homework on the history of magic. He had memorized this boring history long ago. He was studying the anti-squib medicine. More importantly, Cuthbert Binns is a ghost. He has only a weak sense of awareness of living students, and will even be frightened by students who ask him questions. Many students were taking advantage of the History of Magic class to chat or catch up on their sleep. Cedric couldn't get the credits from him either. He can only take the test and get full marks then to see if he can complete his test. But what's the problem with squibs? Come to Cedric. There is an essential difference between squibs and muggles. Although they cannot cast magic, they will not be hit by the muggle expelling curse, will not see Hogwarts as a ruin, and can see ghosts like Peeves. In other words, squibs possess certain qualities that muggles do not possess, but their qualities are not fully developed. As a result, magic power could not be born in the body. Cedric now has two ideas. One is to restore the essence and see if there are any herbs that can promote the secondary development of this trait. Secondly, that is to say using current medical techniques. Is it possible to create this trait artificially, not just to make them rich, but just to be able to complete the magic spell of normal daily life? Just clean it up, restore it as before, and cast a spell on it. In this way, at least the probability of them being discovered as squibs is very low. When it comes to medicinal herbs, Professor Sprout's template is quite useful. Cedric switched out Professor Sprout's character template card, Pomona Sprout talent, herbal medicine. This talent can be upgraded to S level, Master Wizard, magic plus 5 points, upper limit is 75 points. Special talent, herb resistance. Due to long-term contact with herbs, your body has acquired a certain resistance and has a certain resistance to any negative status caused by herbs. Life Wish List, Item 1, Qualified Professor and Dean, please become a Hufflepuff student who satisfies him. By completing this wish list, you can upgrade your herbal talent to SS level. The second item, Knowledge Dissemination, promote the developed dragon dung fertilizer. Completing this wish list will prevent this template card from occupying the slot of the template card. The third item, Glorious Hufflepuff, a student achieved 3 glories for Hufflepuff while studying. Completing this wish list will activate a new special talent, Herbal Intuition. Herb Intuition, because you have been dealing with herbs all year round, when you see or touch a certain herb, you will rely on your intuition and experience to obtain one of its uses. After a thorough understanding, you will have a high chance of discovering its unexplored secrets. Ability. As expected, those who are partial to science are all monsters. This kind of special talent has not appeared even in Professors McGonagall and Snape. I didn't expect to see it in Professor Sprout. Cedric lingered on herbal intuition for a long time. If you can win this reward, it will be of great help to the development of squib medicine and potion science. But even if he won the Academy Cup in 2 years, he would only be honored twice. Then Quidditch is important. Cedric had never played Quidditch before. Because before Harry came, there had never been a precedent for first-year students to join the Quidditch team. And it was Dumbledore's custom to add points casually. As long as Harry enters school, winning the Academy Cup is not guaranteed. Therefore, you must complete glory within these 2 years and receive a special reward from Professor Sprout. When calculating college points before, he even excluded 100 points from the Quidditch Championship. But in terms of glory, this Quidditch Championship is the only glory besides the Academy Cup. Before the first flying lesson, Cedric quickly made a decision in his mind. Talent points -2. S level to SS level consumes 2 points. S level Quidditch talent, upgraded to SS level Quidditch talent, awakened title, Wings of Wind, gained legendary value +1. Another title and legendary value. Ling Yun's eyes suddenly lit up. Now he has 4 legendary points and 3,500 experience points in hand. Not only can a spell be filled instantly, and it can also increase the magic power by 40%. As long as it is a wizard of the same level, it is absolutely impossible to beat him. First grade invincibility has been achieved. There is still a little hidden danger in this kind of upgrade. Special note, the promotion of this talent from A to S level is provided by Professor McGonagall's mission template card. Once removed, this talent will drop to S level. There is nothing we can do. After all, I have to show off my talents in the next flying lesson, otherwise I won't have a chance to join the Quidditch team in advance, or even not. Cedric felt that even this was not safe. I need a bigger reputation to help me break through various limitations, including the little wizard's cognition. After careful consideration, in order to improve the success rate of joining the Quidditch team, Cedric took the initiative to show that thing in the Transfiguration class the next day. 27. Welcome to the Transfiguration class. He looked at Professor McGonagall, who jumped down from the podium and regained his human body. Cedric understands. She and Professor Snape both knew how to make their courses go smoothly. That is to first shock these little wizards. Whether it's Professor McGonagall's transfiguration or Professor Snape's effect of walking out of the shadows. All to give them a show of strength. After the stick comes the carrot. Professor Snape relied on his own set of words to describe potions as gorgeous and aloof, like a flower on the high mountain. Coupled with his emphasis, the effect is immediate. Professor McGonagall is much simpler. After turning the desk into a pig and running around in circles, the students were immediately attracted. Such a discovery. It is actually very necessary for Cedric to be more determined and show his ability. Especially since the people in class today are the traitlings. Many people think that Slytherins should be dark, arrogant, and cold. That's really too much fan fiction. Godric Gryffindor's best friend is Salazar Slytherin. If they didn't have similar pursuits and similar preferences, would they become close friends? There are many similar evidences. At the sorting ceremony, the sorting hat once captured Harry's qualities. It once said to Harry at that time, everything is in his mind, and Slytherin can help him reach glory. Slytherin and Gryffindor. Just a thought. Just like Cao and Liu Bei. Cao would appreciate Liu Bei, but he would not be as dedicated to the people and righteous as Liu Bei. Instead, he would be more tolerant and ambitious, and more eager for victory. Before Harry Potter came, the Snake Academy almost sweeps the Academy Cup every year, and that's really because they have an unusual desire for victory. All in all, in Cedric's eyes, a real Slytherin should be one who has ambition and talent, is snobbish and prudent in protecting himself. Professor Snape is actually the most representative Slytherin. He held it in for many years. Isn't it just to take revenge on Voldemort? It is precisely because Slytherins desire victory that they worship the strong, because they believe the former can lead them to victory. Today, let me become this strong player. When the course is halfway through. When Professor McGonagall finished teaching the theoretical knowledge and began to distribute matches, Cedric softly requested Professor McGonagall, who was approaching, "Professor, some friends want to see my transformation, can I show it to you?" If it were anyone else, Professor McGonagall would definitely refuse this request, which seemed a bit like showing off. But who makes Cedric the student she is satisfied with? Okay, let's show everyone the magic of transformation. After getting permission, Cedric came to the podium. Fellow students. Actually, I have a little experience in transfiguration. It's also because some students are curious, so I will show it today. I hope it can make everyone like the subject of transfiguration more. Cedric glanced at Professor McGonagall again. After seeing her nodding, he immediately started calling out the iron-eating beast in his heart. To enhance the effect. The moment Cedric's transformation was completed, he stepped forward and roared like a bear. Ho ho! A giant bear over 2 meters tall appeared out of thin air. It completely exceeded the expectations of all the little wizards. When Cedric made a deafening roar, people's heartbeats seemed to speed up and their whole bodies trembled. The roar echoed in the classroom. The sound, full of primitive and wild power, seems to remind humans how insignificant they are in the face of the power of nature. But when Cedric stretched out his hand for everyone to touch, my attitude changed instantly. With Cedric's encouragement, the Hufflepuffs boldly began to touch his outstretched right hand. Wow, this is so handsome. This animal is furry and feels comfortable to touch. What animal is this? As expected of Cedric. See the effect. Cedric smiled, then quickly transformed back into his human form. Animagus is a very advanced form of transformation. There were only 7 registered Animagus in the 20th century. Professor McGonagall introduced Cedric's achievements with great satisfaction. After Cedric becomes proficient, he will become the 8th registered Animagus. Wow! Warm applause broke out, even from the Slytherins. Single-digit quantity. The little wizards instantly understood the difficulty of this skill, and their admiration for Cedric grew to a higher level. Cedric was especially surprised by the reaction of the Slytherins after class. After class, the Hufflepuffs surrounded Cedric again. They were chattering, asking for all kinds of information about the iron-eating beast. But they soon discovered that the Slytherins hadn't left either. Because of the bad reputation of Slytherins, the Hufflepuffs instantly thought that they wanted to provoke Cedric, and they immediately gathered around and leaned on each other tightly. Normally Hufflepuffs are very easygoing. But at critical moments, Hufflepuffs are the most courageous. Etc. Cedric quickly stopped the students around him. First of all, he didn't believe that the Slytherins would attack him here. Secondly, he is not afraid of taking action. He had only been in class for a few days, and the Slytherins across from him didn't know as many spells combined as he did. He showed a flawless smile. I wonder what the Slytherin classmates want from me. We just want to ask you one thing. A young Slytherin with somewhat pale skin stepped forward. When the sorting hat was assigned, could you have chosen Slytherin? Can. Cedric answered truthfully. Why didn't you choose Slytherin? This is an interesting question. Cedric thought for a moment, and then answered according to his true thoughts. I love winning, there's no doubt about it. But I also have many other hobbies. I love playing, making friends, and especially cooking. Mentioned dry rice. The Hufflepuffs around them all laughed. Cedric's gourmet food series is another important reason why he can gather Hufflepuffs. Eat a delicious meal. Listening to Cedric telling the story behind the food again, this kind of enjoyment is really hard to understand for those who are not a foodie. If you were asked to transfer to Slytherin now, would you? What? The Hufflepuffs stopped laughing. Damn it, Hufflepuff's big baby is being taken care of? Listen to what you are saying. In the history of Hogwarts, I have never heard of any house robbing people. A hole. The Hufflepuffs are angry. 28. Hansen is a young wizard with a red nose, a round face and brown hair. He likes to eat pure meat dishes like lion's head, and likes to sit in a sunny position in the Hufflepuff lounge, where he can loosen the soil with interest for 3 full hours while taking care of the potted herbs. You mess up his curls and put some dirt on the tip of his nose. He would just laugh. But this time he was really angry. Hansen would not allow his dear friend, gourmet menu provider, academic leader, fairy tale king, and persuasive desk mate Cedric to be snatched away. Him now. It's like being touched by an honest man. Cedric is Hufflepuff's Cedric. He clenched his fists. With his face flushed, he rushed to the front and went out. But he is not alone. The Hufflepuffs just surrounded him and rushed towards the Slytherins. They formed a semicircle and vaguely surrounded each other. The Slytherins were visibly panicked. What about the Hufflepuff who was said to be the friendliest and most characterless person? Why is the shadow of Brother Flathead vaguely appearing in front of the little snakes? The Slytherins who were already standing in a group became even more nervous. They stood in a circle and looked around with vigilant eyes, looking for possible breakthroughs. But then an embarrassing scene occurred. Because the first charms class hadn't even started yet, everyone was a little overwhelmed with the wands they were holding. Many people silently put away their wands and prepared to decide the outcome with their fists. Lumos. A dazzling light flashed. Cedric took advantage of everyone to bend down and close their eyes, so he quickly squeezed into the middle of the crowd due to his tall stature. Sounding sonorous. Tap the wand gently on your throat. Cedric's voice was heard by everyone. First of all, thank you Slytherins for the invitation, but my house is Hufflepuff, and this will never change. Thank you for your love. But I hope that the competition between us will be conducted in a reasonable and orderly manner. Cedric turned his back to the Slytherins and first persuaded the more familiar Hufflepuffs in front of him. They're riots. It really shocked him. It's wrong to fight like this, isn't it? As long as you don't leave Hufflepuff. Hansen was the first to rush out and the first to retreat in the face of admonishment. A conflict was quickly defused. But Cedric still didn't notice. The eyes of the Slytherins behind him. When the classroom turned into an iron-eating beast and roared just now, the Hufflepuffs felt it was novel, cute and fun. But what they saw was power. Except fear. The bear-like roar also aroused a strange kind of awe and respect in their hearts. People have always had a soft spot for powerful and mysterious creatures. The Slytherins had a deep respect for Cedric's strength and ferocity. Plus just now, the tall Cedric stood in front of them. Casting 2 magic spells in succession, he quickly took control of the situation and persuaded Hufflepuff to retreat in a few clicks. This is simply the complete expression of strength. Plus the Sorting Hat said it too. Cedric has Slytherin qualities, he only listens to what he likes. Their instinct to follow the strong and achieve success faster becomes stronger and stronger. Very good, thank you everyone. Cedric turned around, tilted his head at the Slytherins behind him, and motioned for them to leave quickly. The Slytherins soon began to move. But after most of them had reached a safe position at the door, the Slytherin who could be last. Still he turned around and said that sentence, Cedric, you have the blood of Slytherin, pure blood, and you have the belief of Slytherin, the pursuit of victory. Even if you are in Hufflepuff, you are still a Slytherin. Again? Hansen roared and rushed forward. The Slytherins immediately dispersed, but they ran into the corridor, still shouting, Cedric, you are a true Slytherin. One day you will realize this fact and return to the Slytherin family. We'll wait for you. The little badgers are so angry, these guys are so evil. From now on, Hufflepuff's protective game operation has quietly officially started. Such an atmosphere. It also continued into the afternoon spells class. The first person to notice something was wrong was naturally Professor Flitwick in class. He found that the Slytherin and Hufflepuff students down there were very strange. The little snakes always look at Hufflepuff, and once Hufflepuff notices that the other person is looking at them, he will immediately glare at them. The little snakes who were stared at smiled coldly and then turned around. Not long after that, some of the little snakes couldn't help but look over. I can't have a good class like this. As a dueling champion, Professor Flitwick's eyesight is beyond words. After 2 or 3 times, he discovered the source immediately. Cedric. Professor Flitwick knocked on the desk, come to the front. 29. I've heard of you. Professor Flitwick stood on a pile of books, looking at Cedric in front of him from behind the desk. He is quite a handsome young man. McGonagall was full of praise for his transformation talent, and Professor Sprout also verified his knowledge of medicinal herbs. Just don't know. How about your talent for magic spells? In fact, both Snape and McGonagall were very aware of Cedric's abilities in charms. However, they are not professors of charms, so naturally they will not mention anything more in this aspect, otherwise they will appear to be taking the credit from the charms professor. I heard that you are an excellent little wizard. I wonder if you have practiced magic spells in advance. Cedric hasn't spoken yet. Someone from the Slytherin behind shouted, Professor, he has mastered many spells. Hufflepuff suddenly felt unhappy again. Why is it your turn to shout, making it seem like Cedric is your guy? Oh. Professor Flitwick pointed. Show it, for every spell you know, I will add 1 point to Hufflepuff, so good? Then I'm coming. Cedric didn't expect such an unexpected surprise. He took out his wand and cast all the spells he had learned for 100 years. Very good, fire-making spell, the action is very standard. Unlocking spell, locking spell, these are really a pair of enemy spells. A new look, the first spell that naughty little wizards learn. Fluorescent flashing, this is also very practical. The floating spell is perfect. The ending sound is really pleasant to the ears no matter how I listen to it. Professor Flitwick waved his wand and was about to open his mouth to give Cedric points. But I didn't expect it. Cedric actually started to use it, flying curse, loud voice, softening curse, cutting curse, leg locking curse, universal breaking curse, locking tongue and throat seal, iron armor curse, and stop the curse. Add the previous spells for a total of 15 spells. This is the biggest gain from Cedric coming to Hogwarts early. There was silence in the audience. They all knew that Cedric was very strong, but they didn't expect him to be so strong. I haven't received any discounts on my books yet. Has the other party learned the entire curse book for a year? Not only that, but he also learned many other spells. They even suspected that Cedric had already learned even the 2nd grade spells. This is the first time for everyone to read. Why are you so unique? It feels like we are all racing together. While I am waiting for the starting gun, you are already preparing to sprint to the finish line. I haven't even finished the dishes yet, and you're already wiping your mouth. Incredible. 15 points for Hufflepuff. Professor Flitwick moved so hard that his hair trembled. After the announcement, he jumped off the stack of books and came to Cedric, looking up and down at the handsome young man in front of him. A layman looks at the excitement, an expert looks at the door. To the other little wizards, they just saw a fireworks like magic, but in his eyes they saw more of Cedric's extraordinary qualities. First, every spell is a success. This is the stability of magic power that is different from ordinary people. Secondly, Cedric's movements in casting spells are clean and neat, his magic power is extremely abundant, and his spelling pronunciation is also very accurate. Even the final magical power is much stronger than that of ordinary wizards. These 5 are extremely rare talents. Ordinary wizards who get 2 or 3 of them can already be proud of the crowd. Cedric actually has them all. No doubt. He is a wizard with no weaknesses in the hexagon. The best talent for the curse duel. It is a top-grade rough gemstone that cannot be missed. With a little carving, it can shine brightly. Child. Professor Flitwick, with gleaming eyes, grabbed Cedric's arm and asked cautiously. Are you interested in dueling? No wonder he was so careful. Everybody knows. Hufflepuff is the least competitive of the group of wizards. He is afraid that he will not be interested if he hears Cedric say, I prefer to work. That would be embarrassing. However, this time Cedric still didn't have time to answer. The excited little snakes once again answered for him first. Of course, Cedric has the same heart as the Slytherins, always pursuing victory. Professor Flitwick was stunned. What are the Slytherins doing? Why are they suddenly praising Cedric? They are not the most dedicated to winning. Do you regard all other colleges as enemies? Has the world changed now? Everyone loves Cedric? Leave them alone. They have some unrealistic ideas now, and they will give up after a while. Cedric quickly brought Professor Flitwick's attention back, of course. I'm very happy to learn the skills of magic duel. Ah, oh. Very good. Professor Flitwick didn't think clearly for a while and didn't bother to think about it. What's more important is the good seedlings in front of you. Ding, I am moved by Professor Flitwick's success. You get bonus talent points +1, Professor Flitwick template card. Great, it's shipped again. Cedric cheered in his heart. You don't have to look to know. This professor who specializes in magic will definitely give him a big surprise. And there is another key thing. After being moved by Professor Flitwick, he could also ask more detailed questions about the techniques of magic spells. Maybe there is something in it that can help change the squib. After class that day, Cedric followed Professor Flitwick back to his office, and after getting the other person's experience record, he asked this question. Squib? I really know a little bit about it. Professor Flitwick immediately explained. 30. The squib is not good enough in terms of the stability of magic power and the total amount of magic power. Professor Flitwick is very patient. Although he didn't know why Cedric cared about this issue. But I still try my best to explain, every little wizard will have a magic rampage period. The magic power is like a grand firework that will bloom in their bodies instantly, leaving seeds of magic power increase and invisible rivers in their bodies. With age, magic power will continue to grow from the body, and they will continue to gather along the river. The larger the river formed, the more stable the magic power will be. Listen to Professor Flitwick's explanation. Ling Yun's understanding of magic has reached a new level. It turns out that the magic power needs to be dug out first, and then condensed in the subsequent natural growth. The so-called river channel. It's a bit like tapping gum. After a wound is separated, the gum can begin to be produced along the separated opening. 4 squibs. Professor Flitwick went on to explain, either the explosion was not powerful enough, or there was no explosion at all. There were very few channels created by the explosion and could not hold much at all, so there was not enough magic power gathered in the body to activate the magic. Heard so much? Ling Yun almost understood it. So it's actually an explosion to widen the channels, and the second is to condense the magic power of the body. Actually there's only one. Professor Flitwick once again gave Ling Yun a new surprise. In order to improve my dual strength, I have actually studied the growth of magic power. The riot of magic power can actually be simulated externally, but the body cannot condense the magic power, so there is no way. I tried many methods later. But it can't moisturize the bodies of the squibs, otherwise I can raise my magic power to another level. Professor Flitwick looked regretful. But Cedric was extremely happy. Professor, you are really amazing. Cedric gained so much today. Not only did they accurately confirm the 2 major problems with the squib, but they even solved one of them. This is nothing. Professor Flitwick's face turned rosy after being praised. Embarrassed, he waved his hand and asked, "By the way, I don't know why you ask this." "That's right, I heard." Cedric repeated the reason he told Filch. "I was just shocked after hearing it. Then I felt that they were pitiful, so I decided to help them. There is also a part of the reason why I asked Mr. Filch, but he doesn't know that I know, so please keep this secret." "Of course there's no problem with keeping it secret." Professor Flitwick blinked at Cedric, "But you are more interested in Filch." Looking at Cedric, who smiled and said nothing, Professor Flitwick said very sadly, "Actually, I heard about you before class today. You checked into Hogwarts early and successfully changed Filch." Thinking of this old acquaintance who has been at Hogwarts for more than 10 years, Professor Flitwick admired Cedric even more. "Who is Filch?" From Hogwarts to Peeves, to the young wizards from the 4 major colleges, to the professors, the 4 deans, and Principal Dumbledore, no one likes him. I don't know how many people have tried to persuade him to change his temper. But even Dumbledore couldn't do anything to him. Like a broken sticker. If you don't tear it off, it will look ugly if it's stuck there. But if you tear it off, the glue marks left behind are likely to be even uglier and require more energy on your part to deal with. And it's not over once and for all. He always appears in front of you over and over again. Fortunately, everyone can suppress him. So even if he occasionally makes everyone uncomfortable, everyone habitually ignores him. You only look for him when you need him. Cedric is different. In just over a month since he arrived, Filch has become completely new. When I saw Filch reminding the little wizards, not only the senior students almost stared out of their eyes, but even the professors were secretly dumbfounded. This is simply a miracle. Merlin had to shout when he saw it, "This is the power of magic." After this incident, when professors communicate privately, they all spoke highly of Cedric. Even the strictest McGonagall and the coldest Snape have praised Cedric's excellence more than once. In their mouths, he is a nearly perfect student in both character and talent. I feel a little ashamed to say it. When I was young, I always pursued victory and glory, but I never thought about life like you do, and I never had such a positive influence on anyone. I am not as good as you. Professor Flitwick became more and more sad as he spoke. Cedric quickly comforted him, "Professor Flitwick, you are the most powerful magic professor in my mind. Your dual trophies are all the goals I strive for." Under his constant comfort, Professor Flitwick quickly shook off his sadness and remembered his real reason for bringing Cedric back to his office. "By the way, this is for you." He pulled out a very old copy. A long and narrow booklet like a communication test. The outside of the booklet was stained with a few spots of blackened blood, and the edges of the cover were already very rough. The paper inside seemed to be about to fall apart, and the sides looked a little uneven. Although the appearance inside is not good. But the outermost part is carefully tied tightly with cowhide straps. At first glance, it seems that it is an item that has been used for a long time and is very cherished. Professor Flitwick placed the pamphlet into Cedric's hands. "This is my spell notebook. You can try to teach yourself. If you don't understand anything, feel free to ask me." Ding! Get the mysterious book, Professor Flitwick's notebook. It contains 122 magic spells that you have not learned yet. Hold this magic spell and consume varying experience points to quickly learn various magic spells. "I go!" Cedric yelled in his mind. As expected, these science-minded big guys are all great treasures. He made up his mind. He would never let go of every professor who showed up at Hogwarts. He might be able to tell which professor had a treasure in his hands. "Thank you so much, Professor Flitwick." Cedric gave Professor Flitwick a big hug. The latter burst out laughing. Both of them ended the conversation very happily. "Hold the notebook in your arms." Cedric's excitement lasted until after dinner. After dinner, in the Hufflepuff common room. After he talked about the romance of the 3 kingdoms again, his excitement subsided, and then fatigue came over him, and he fell asleep until the astronomy class in the evening. Jogging all the way to the astronomy tower. When he looked at the starry sky through the telescope and saw dots of stars in the starry sky, constellation patterns composed of different connections emerged in his mind. Suddenly, a wild imagination popped into Cedric's mind uncontrollably. Isn't it just nourishing the body? Professor Flitwick's magic doesn't work. Maybe, I can try mysterious oriental medicine? And the invisible river that was blown up, doesn't it sound a lot like the meridians of the human body? 31. Yes, that's right, that's it. The more Cedric thought about it, the more he was right. Health regimen plus Huxia Kung Fu? He really knows this. When middle-aged people have no choice but to soak wolfberry in a thermos cup. And more importantly, he also remembered a very useful health training method, Bajuan Jin. As for whether it is useful, you'll know if you try it. After finally enduring the astronomy get out of class, he quickly returned to his dormitory and started practicing immediately. Bajuan Jin is a complete set of fitness exercises. It has excellent effects in curing diseases and keeping fit, the choreography is exquisite, and the movements are perfect. In the past life, it was for maintaining health. Cedric started practicing in his 20s. The effect is very significant. Now I practice again, but I remember everything after only 2 or 3 times. After practicing, I felt my blood boiling all over my body, and even my magic power seemed to be running smoothly. This made him very happy. Just when Cedric didn't know how to detect the effect, the system prompt sounded very promptly, "The magic power increasing action has been detected, please complete the action 10 times to facilitate the system's collection." Magic boost action. This is it. Cedric immediately lost his doubts and continued practicing for half an hour. He was sweating profusely and heat was constantly steaming out from the top of his head. Collection completed. Acquire the skill Bajuan Jin, exercise method to strengthen the body, which can increase 10 points of magic power, maximum 70, 1 point of strength, and 1 point of physical fitness. 10 points of magic is enough. Cedric remembers very clearly that after his first burst of magic power, he gained 10 points of magic power. At that moment, he can already use magic to have some impact on the outside world. Such as shaking bells, turning lights on and off, etc. As long as 10 points are enough, it will be enough to get rid of the status of a squib. Combined with some oriental medicinal materials. Several classic medicinal materials quickly came to his mind. Early the next morning, Cedric came to the owl house and mailed the letter he had written. He wanted to ask his parents to help him purchase some medicinal materials. In case they don't know it. The names of the medicinal materials were also written in Huxia on the letter. After delivery, it was time for class. The morning classes were herbology and defense against the dark arts, and Cedric was also active in the defense against the dark arts class. Unfortunately, although this tall teacher gave him a high evaluation and gave him a full 8 points, but there has been no trigger prompt. Cedric thought of a possibility, that is, the system might only recognize characters that have appeared. Keep this question in your mind. Anyway, the defense against the dark arts class is still a year away, so we can confirm again then. After lunch, Cedric found Professor Flitwick again, and he explained the efficacy of Bajuan Jin. Then he took him for a practical exercise. After practicing twice, the highly skilled Professor Flitwick also felt the effect keenly. It's incredible. Professor Flitwick posed with his hands holding the 3 radiators of heaven. After feeling the accelerating flow and growth of magic power, his eyes lit up instantly, and he couldn't help but exclaimed, "You invented this in one night." Not really. Cedric didn't want to pretend to be someone else, so he immediately explained the situation. "I've seen this in an Oriental book before, and I didn't invent it." Mysterious Oriental theory. The surprise in Professor Flitwick's eyes did not diminish at all, but instead lit up 3 points more. It is undeniable that their civilization is very long and many inheritances have been handed down, but their writing is too difficult to learn. You've actually learned it. Kid, I rarely use the word knowledgeable to others, but I have to say that you really surprise me time and time again. Haha. Cedric smiled awkwardly. I almost forgot that Huxia is still a very partial language in this world, let alone the culture contained in it. It's okay to praise him from other places. After all, these are the results of his self-disciplined learning since he was 5 years old. The only thing about Huxia that he felt deserved was the memory of his previous life. Professor, please stop praising me. Cedric smiled and passed by. I came here today just to ask for your help to blow up the river for Filch. I see. Professor Flitwick naturally regarded Cedric's behavior as modest by default. Once people have filters, there will be a special bias in everything you look at. Now Cedric has a perfect filter in front of all teachers. Don't worry, but you have to teach this skill yourself. Besides, can I learn it? Sure. Teaching one person is still teaching, and teaching 100 people is still teaching. Anyway, Cedric must be teaching the Hufflepuffs who are following him. He even thought about how to teach Filch. That is to say, let him learn it first and then teach his squib friends. In order to maintain his dignity and completely transform him, he had gone to great lengths. Of course, it's all about the rewards. Very good, I'll let you know when it's done. Professor Flitwick acted quickly. During dinner, he gave Cedric an okay look. Cedric immediately approached Filch and asked him to learn Bajuan with him starting tomorrow morning. Squib has a solution. Filch grabbed Ling Yun's hand excitedly and couldn't bear to let go for a long time. Early the next morning, Cedric began to take the Hufflepuffs, Professor Flitwick and Filch to exercise in the open space of the courtyard. No one felt anything wrong this morning. But during Professor McGonagall's transfiguration class on Thursday, a magical scene happened. 32. Hufflepuff adds 1 point. Hufflepuff adds 1 point. 1 point for Slytherin. Hufflepuff adds 1 point. Professor McGonagall kept looking around the table. It's only the second class. As long as the match can have some metallic color, she will give bonus points without hesitation. Except Cedric. During the transfiguration class, he would find a corner to sit down and arrange his own time. Him now. I am busy drawing the decomposition movements of Bajuan. This set of movements needs to be coordinated with breathing to nourish the body. Recall the news I saw in my previous life. The so-called morning exercise of the gods is indeed not groundless. Cedric is busy writing. After all these annotations are written, he can take his own photos, which will have his own cycle of actions. In this way, a qualified squib-cracking book will be completed. Of course, Professor Flitwick's share is also indispensable. Because the method of blowing up the river was completely provided by him, and besides, publishing a book with him would only have advantages and no disadvantages. Professor Flitwick's reputation as a duel champion is very resounding. Cedric had someone communicate with him. The method of blowing up rivers can actually use magic props. Strictly speaking, it's just a moderate burst of magic power. This magic prop is not difficult to make, and there are no obstacles at all. The reason why Cedric cares so much about this book. That's because he is also short of money. Whether he is researching potions or even the magic props he will research in the future, the materials are very expensive. After you have money, he could also be more generous with his friends. He had noticed a few less wealthy friends for a long time, but unfortunately he didn't have any extra money to support them. Help them when you are able. Not only will you be happy, but the system will definitely think it is a good thing. Then there are the Weasley twins. Although Cedric will definitely fight with them in the future to keep them from breaking school rules at Hogwarts. But he can still sponsor the funny store. Predictably so. That will be a long-term income. If they focus all their attention on research and development, then they probably won't make so much trouble. Anyway, Harry wasn't short of money, so he accepted the money with a smile. It's predictable anyway. Products that eliminate squibs will not be easily circulated, because no one will let others know that they are a squib. That's pretty much it. There is not much content in Bajuan. It took Cedric about an hour to complete the painting. Wait until he raises his head and prepares to rest. Professor McGonagall also completed his first inspection tour. Hufflepuff adds 1 point. After confirming the last student, Professor McGonagall, who had extensive teaching experience, couldn't help but have some doubts in his heart. She glanced at all the Hufflepuffs. Recalling that when they first entered the classroom, they all stared at a red face and a sweaty forehead. Think for a moment. Professor McGonagall couldn't help but ask the Hufflepuffs, "You have made very good progress today, but could it be that you drank some potion? There are many agents that can cause sweating. Like a pick-me-up. People who drink this medicine will have smoke coming out of their ears for several hours. And there is someone in Hufflepuff who is capable of doing this." Cedric. Professor McGonagall called softly. "What? No. No, I just took everyone for a morning exercise." Cedric, who had been writing at his desk for a long time, even got up and showed off his movements. "By the way, I also moved my somewhat stiff body." One sat down. The body immediately warmed up. About half an hour of physical exercise. Professor McGonagall was confused again. Cedric said it was so simple, so that shouldn't be the reason? Is it because Cedric taught well after he returned? Professor McGonagall was still thinking. The sitting Hufflepuffs have already begun to explain. "Actually, I think it has something to do with exercising in the morning. Yes, I feel much better after exercising. I also eat more in the morning and feel much better. I also feel that the magic power is much smoother. Yes, yes. Professor, Cedric is just being humble. I see. Professor McGonagall looked at Cedric with loving and relieved eyes. She shouted reprovingly, Cedric, don't be too modest next time, you will bother others. No. Cedric felt that he couldn't explain it clearly. This is obviously not because of this. Even if Bajuanjin is really effective, it cannot be exerted in one go. How the Hufflepuffs feel. It must be because they got up early and exercised for the first time since arriving at Hogwarts. Exercise promotes blood circulation and also improves concentration. When the spirit is better, the success rate of casting magic will naturally increase. But no one in the audience believed him. Led by Professor McGonagall, the Hufflepuffs all looked at him with eyes that I understood. As for the Slytherins who are good at conspiracy theories, they were all talking excitedly to each other. Cedric also heard many strange words. For example, Cedric's mysterious practice, charisma, black magic, miracles, secrets, potions, take off, etc. Soon. Someone in Slytherin stood up, Mr. Cedric, please allow us to practice with you tomorrow morning. Hearing this serious request, Cedric's breath hitched. No, this is an honorific title. We are all classmates, so don't shout randomly. Discovered by Dumbledore. If you think you really deliberately recruit your subordinates, you'll be finished. You can practice with me, but don't call me sir, okay? Cedric corrected seriously. Fine. The man looked back at his companion, then from now on, we will respect you as our leader. Cedric. No, just sir. I love this title so much, it's perfect. Looking at Cedric who looked slightly embarrassed, Professor McGonagall announced the end of Get Out of Class very gracefully. The addition of Slytherins already made him feel overwhelmed. But at lunchtime, Cedric heard another request that made him panic. What, the new students of Ravenclaw, do you think this is a special learning method? Do you want to join in? Since then, the scale of morning exercise has completely exceeded Cedric's control. Early the next morning, those standing in front of Cedric include, Hufflepuff is composed of all freshmen and a few sophomores. All first-year students in Slytherin. All first-year students at Ravenclaw. And Professor Filch and Flitwick. Let me go, if this continues, won't I soon become the head coach of Hogwarts morning exercises? In the midst of sighing, Cedric suddenly saw Professor McGonagall and Dumbledore walking out into the courtyard. Sure enough, it came. 33. Morning. In the courtyard, Cedric was feeling numb when he saw so many people in front of him, but Dumbledore appeared directly. It's Headmaster Dumbledore. A low cry. The young wizards all spontaneously made way for the well-deserved #1 white wizard in the magic world. Professor Dumbledore *2 Flitwick and Filch say hello to Dumbledore. Mr. Dumbledore. Although he always talks about not being noticed by Dumbledore. But when he saw himself right in front of him, just like in the auditorium, Cedric didn't feel the slightest fear in his heart. His eyes met the eyes behind the crescent moon glasses. Wise, witty, and powerful Dumbledore. And confident, sunny, and self-disciplined Cedric. Many years later, some people call this first meeting between the two men the meeting of the century between the two leaders of righteous white magic. Cedric. Dumbledore called out the name that he almost recognized as Cocoon. You are very good, the guide at King's Station, and you are still teaching everyone new training methods. He was tall and thin, with silver hair and beard fluttering in the wind. Behind the half-moon-shaped glasses, azure eyes sparkle. I wonder if I can come with you. Certainly. Of course Cedric wouldn't refuse. This time Dumbledore was obviously here to observe him. Sure enough, when the morning exercise ended, Dumbledore turned around, put his arm on Cedric's shoulders and said, Sorry, I may have to ask you guys for another day today, Cedric. Under his witty words, the little wizards laughed for a while, and then they all gradually dispersed. Many Slytherins and Ravenclaws who were participating in morning exercises for the first time immediately took out their wands and started experimenting on the spot. Vaguely. There were also many exclamations. Let's go, kid. Dumbledore walked towards the castle with Cedric in his arms. We're going to help you register the animagus today. Don't worry, we'll be back before noon. I won't delay your afternoon flying lesson. Certainly. Cedric smiled lightly. Consumption of 1700 experience points. Occlumency LV8, 1/100, is upgraded to Occlumency LV10, full level. Skill full level reward, effect plus 10%, magic resistance plus 5. Cedric couldn't help but be stunned. Unexpectedly, you can get additional bonuses when your skills are upgraded to full level? And it also has such a good attribute as magic resistance. During this period of time, except for Occlumency, he had not used experience points to upgrade any spells. In Cedric's opinion, those spells that he could practice proficiently were not worth his experience points. But now Occlumency has given him a hint. Some special skills that are difficult to practice may bring him special improvements if upgraded to the full level. For example, call the gods to protect you. The illusion body curse, the severe fire curse, the traceless extension curse, the apparition, the prophecy, the forgetfulness, the explosion curse, the shadowless edge, etc. These mantras rise to the level of words. Maybe you can add many incredible bonuses to him. As for ordinary magic spells, I don't know what effect they will have after reaching full level. It seems that I can find time to concentrate on practicing a certain magic spell for a period of time. We'll know then. Cedric was lost in thought and couldn't help but slow down a little. Dumbledore, who was paying close attention to Cedric, immediately noticed something strange about him. What's wrong? Dumbledore asked concerned. Fine. Cedric shook his head, I thought of something else. Professor McGonagall next to him thought he was a little nervous because he was going to the Ministry of Magic. Don't worry. I have also registered. It is very fast and safe. I will accompany you throughout the process. Thank you, Professor. After Cedric finished speaking, the three of them continued walking towards the interior of the tower. The principal's office is on the 8th floor. The three of them walked together up the long staircase. At the end of the spiral staircase was a huge oak door with a shiny griffin-shaped brass door knocker. Peppermint candies. Dumbledore spoke the password and opened the door. Cedric followed inside. This is a warm and cozy round room. There were many strange silverware on Dumbledore's table, and the walls were covered with portraits of the old male and female headmasters. Cedric looked around. The sorting hat on the shelf, the Gryffindor sword on the glass mat, and the pensieve in the black cabinet. These are very rare magical creations. He finally set his sights on the phoenix fox standing on the golden branch. The phoenix of fire. I don't know how many more there are in this world. Cedric couldn't help but stretched out his hand. Perhaps his A-level pet affinity had an effect. Fox didn't resist his outstretched hand. He sniffed it slightly and then touched it gently with his beak. It seems it likes you too. Dumbledore looked away. Congratulations on passing Principal Dumbledore's preliminary test and gaining 2,000 experience points. Cedric wasn't too happy. This is still a preliminary test. With Dumbledore's habit of calculating everything, it would be very difficult to completely gain his trust. Everything has just begun. Come on, let's go to the Ministry of Magic. Dumbledore reached out and held the two of them, then called for the phoenix to land on his shoulder. Cedric's eyes flashed red. Then it was discovered. I came to a very magnificent hall. Before he could see the decoration clearly, the sudden flash of light in front of his eyes made him immediately understand the weight of himself as the youngest animagus in history. Maybe it was heavier than he thought. 34. That's me boy. Caca. After a dazzling flash of light, a familiar shout came. Cedric was dazed for a moment. It took him a while to figure out that this sentence was not a scream full of sadness, but a shout full of excitement. Look up. Mr. and Mrs. Diggory stood not far away. Mr. Diggory waved his arms vigorously at him, and Mrs. Diggory's hand turned white as she held the handkerchief, and her eyes filled with tears. At this moment, only then did Cedric feel that his efforts were meaningful. Give way, the child's parents are here. Dumbledore escorted him out of the circle of reporters. The five people quickly joined together. I knew we would be proud of you. Mr. Diggory kept his hand on Cedric's shoulder. Not willing to let go, not willing to exert force. Mrs. Diggory grabbed his wrist tightly from the other side. The two men sandwiched him. Even Dumbledore was squeezed out. Cedric, who was caught in the middle, felt extremely fulfilled. At the same time, he secretly swore again in his heart. I won't die. I won't die in the hands of Wormtail, nor will I die in the hands of Voldemort. No one can take my life away. No one can. Let's get out of here first. Dumbledore urged in a low voice. The 5 people quickly entered an independent office. Everything went smoothly. Cedric successfully transformed into an iron-eating beast in a room with an anti-cheating spell. The staff carefully recorded his various data. Then I left some magical photos. After this, the golden animagus badge was issued to his hand. Give it to him together. There is also a trophy for the youngest animagus in history. Ding, get the glory, the youngest animagus in history, legendary value +1. If your form changes significantly in the future, please be sure to notify us. After saying that, the staff left. Dumbledore and others once again surrounded Cedric. How about it? Do you want to participate in the interview together? Several reporters were asking me just now. Mr. and Mrs. Diggory were still very excited. Especially Mr. Diggory, he wanted to let everyone know the glory that his son now received. You just go. Cedric hugged them but refused to be interviewed. I don't like those reporters. Don't talk too much about me, or I will be stressed. It is precisely because of cherishing the happiness in front of you. That's why he didn't want to be bound by fame and fortune. Now he just wanted to return to Hogwarts quickly and cast his first full-level spell quickly. After defeating Voldemort, the good days have finally arrived. Good boy. Mr. and Mrs. Diggory said many more words of advice before reluctantly saying goodbye to Cedric. Cedric, who was in a bit of agitated mood, didn't notice. On the way back, Dumbledore's face didn't look as good as before. After returning to the office, he didn't even take off his coat and immediately asked, Cedric, you are so anxious to come back. Is there anything you are particularly anxious about? I just want to practice my spells. Cedric didn't realize until he answered. Was Dumbledore testing him again? He stood there and met those eyes again. I thought about it for a while. But he still couldn't guess what the brain behind those half-moon glasses was thinking about at the moment. But it doesn't matter. As long as you become stronger as soon as possible. Then I'll leave first. Cedric looked away and said goodbye to the 2 professors. After returning to the Hufflepuff lounge, he immediately installed Professor Flitwick's personal panel. Since you want to brush up the magic level, then Professor Flitwick's personal template is the most suitable. Template card, Filius Flivi talent, magic. This talent can be upgraded to S level, Super Master Wizard, magic +5 points, upper limit is 95 points. Special talent, Dual Champion, your reflexes +10%, your spell release speed +10%. Life Wish List, the first item, more dual glory, please become the Dual Champion of the Charms class. By completing this wish list, you can upgrade your magic talent to SS level. The second item, Knowledge Dissemination, teach the 3 unique magic spells and tricks you have researched to outstanding disciples, and they will shine in their hands. Completing this wish list will prevent this template card from occupying the slot of the template card. The third item, the glory of a fighter, continuously improving his or her own strength and defeating his most admired Dumbledore. Completing this wish list will activate a new special talent, Dual Intuition. Dual Intuition, when someone secretly targets you and chants a spell, you have a 50% chance of being able to detect it and instinctively dodge and counterattack. To this, Cedric's comment is, a small word, but it has infinite energy. He admires the strong, but his psychological desire is to defeat Dumbledore, the current #1 White Wizard. What an admirable teacher! Since we have to complete the mission, we can only choose from your 3 unique moves. Cedric opens Flitwick's magic notebook. Inside he found these 3 magic tricks. They are, Chain Casting, Ultimate Protection, and Symphony Casting. Simply put, these 3 are not separate spells. For example, there are 8 routines for Chain Casting. They all use similar syllables or movements, coupled with powerful strength and silent spell casting, to achieve the purpose of continuously launching magic spells. The advantage is that the shooting speed is very fast. The disadvantage is that in order to achieve the purpose of serial firing, some of the magic spells are very weak. The Ultimate Protection. It's the kind of dome magic that was cast during the Battle of Hogwarts. This is a special magic composed of several kinds of defensive white magic. The defense is extremely powerful and the spell is extremely difficult to penetrate. A solo version can also be cast. You can also cast it in advance just in case. The only drawback is that it cannot defend against the Gnawing Melon spell. But dueling is definitely enough. Finally, it was the symphony that cast the spell. This is what Professor Flitwick discovered from his favorite symphony. He discovered that certain waving movements can enhance the magic. The advantage is that it can enhance the power of the spell. The disadvantage is that it will lengthen the time it takes to cast your spell. So, which one should I practice? Cedric hesitated for a moment. 35. On the 8th floor, in the principal's office. Dumbledore was thinking about Cedric. Everything seems normal. There is no trace of black magic, he is sunny, cheerful, has a desire to win, and he can get along well with his classmates. Not condescending. He did not deliberately promote his own theories, but quietly used his words and deeds to influence the people around him. But such a person. Why don't you even care about glory? If my 11-year-old self had the opportunity to make the headlines of a newspaper for the first time, I would probably be so happy that I couldn't find north. Say no to compliments and compliments. Choosing to return to Hogwarts, he even continued studying during the break before lunch. Is it just a desire to learn? What exactly is it? Can you let go of the glory in front of you? Cedric, what do you really want? Dumbledore fell into deep thought. In Hufflepuff's lounge. A group of Hufflepuffs were looking longingly at the clock on the wall. When the time came to 11:50, they immediately stood up at the same time. Cedric, let's go, it's time to eat. Good. Cedric knew that they had been waiting impatiently, so he put away his wand and followed them towards the Great Hall. When he entered the auditorium, Hufflepuff's table immediately burst into applause. Cedric. The youngest animagus in history. Hufflepuff's genius. Cedric had a look of surprise on his face. Although he got the trophy back, he forgot to mention it because he was busy practicing magic spells. I don't know how they knew. Soon, someone told the truth. Cedric, my father is from the Ministry of Magic. He wrote a letter yesterday, scolding me and asking me to learn from you. Hear this. Good-natured laughter suddenly erupted all around. Sure enough, no one can escape comparisons with other people's children. The man was not angry, but instead puffed out his chest and said proudly, but I don't feel bad because you are Cedric. Thank you for the compliment. Cedric hugged the man. Compared to the dazzling flashlight, this sincere and humane compliment made him happier. After a round of applause, Filch and Hagrid came out pushing the three-layer cake together. Gradually, word of Cedric's glory spread, and he once again became the center of attention in the auditorium. After taking a few bites of the cake, it quickly turned into a fighting tool. Cedric was naturally taken care of. Fortunately, there is magic to clean it up, otherwise everyone would be scolded by this workload. After a passionate lunch, Cedric, who is always energetic, had to take a nap so that he could go to flying lessons with energy. Apparently Mrs. Rolanda Hooch also got wind of the story. Before class, she thrust a licorice wand into his hand. Congratulations, Cedric. Thank you, Professor. Cedric accepted the candy without any courtesy. I heard that you did well in other courses. Do you like Quidditch? Mrs. Hooch looked at Cedric expectantly. Her idea is simple, as long as you like Quidditch, we can be good friends. Of course, I should say it's love. Naturally, Cedric would not miss this opportunity, I have been preparing for this for 6 years. Ha ha ha. Mrs. Hooch was amused by the answer, I like that answer. After saying hello, she turned around and clapped her hands to everyone and urged, now, everyone choose a broomstick that you like, hurry up. Cedric picked a handful at random. In fact, the appearance of these public teaching brooms is not very good, and I don't know if they are used to reduce speed and reduce danger. Put your right hand above the broom handle, palm down. Mrs. Hooch continued to shout, then talk. Stand up. Cedric spoke softly and quickly grabbed a sleek wooden pole in his hand. But there are only a few who can be like him. More people's broomsticks just rolled left and right on the ground, and then stopped moving. In order for everyone to hold on to their broomsticks, it took Mrs. Hooch a full 10 minutes. While others were still trying to slowly take off and land, Cedric could already fly up and down freely. Although it still goes up and down in a straight line as arranged by the teacher. But the toxins are already 3 times that of the classmates around me. Cedric compared Harry Potter's feelings in the original book and found that his S-level Quidditch talent should be no worse than his. At least I didn't have any fear. His whole body was even cheering for joy, wanting him to fly to a higher place to be with the strong wind and sky. Cedric. After seeing his silky undulations, Mrs. Hooch encouraged him, you can try a higher movement and take your time. Good. Cedric immediately raised his head. After crossing the height of his classmates, he first performed several horizontal figure 8 flights. This is followed by a vertical figure 8 flight. Then there is the figure 8 flight with a left tilt of 45 degrees, and the figure 8 flight with a right tilt of 45 degrees. Do it all over again. This time, all the figure 8 flights were replaced by pentagram flights. Mrs. Hooch's eyes sparkled, and the Hufflepuffs and Ravenclaws all looked silent. Tall and handsome. Good at food, good at both morals and learning. Now even Quidditch can fly out of flowers. What else can he not do? Great Cedric! We sing your praises and praise you. Just like that, after Cedric soared in the sky for a whole class. As he wished. Mrs. Hooch took him to Professor Sprout. This kid has graduated from flying. Let me see him at the Quidditch game. 36. If there is anything good about being in Hufflepuff. That is, the children here are all very kind and happy with others. Although Cedric is new here. But when he expressed his desire to be Seeker, the rest of the Hufflepuff Quidditch team easily agreed to let him take the position. Although Professor Sprout brought him here, Cedric still felt bad because the Hufflepuff's desire to win was too low. Compared to victory. They care more about process, companionship, and fun. After Cedric arrived, they even stopped training and pestered him to tell them food stories. I like Dongpo pork the most. It's so soft when braised. I heard that the person who invented it was a bard. I like osmanthus and sour plum soup. Xiao Long Bao, tell me about that Xiao Long Bao. How did you discover that you can pour soup into it? Cedric couldn't laugh or cry. He didn't expect that the senior Hufflepuffs would care most about this. Look at them like this. If it weren't for the fact that he was in a different grade than him and there were many people around him, he would have come looking for him long ago. Cedric's hospitality was hard to refuse. I still told them the story about Su Dongpo and the fate between pork and rice wine. After agreeing on the time for the next training, Cedric said goodbye to his teammates with some melancholy. I didn't expect that it would be annoying to have teammates who are so nice. Although he has successfully entered the Quidditch team, there is no guarantee that he will increase his winning rate. He's here to win. But the character of the little badgers makes it difficult for them to intensify their training. Cedric finally decided that there was no other better way. If you still can't think of a solution before the next game, then consume 1 legendary point to upgrade your Quidditch talent to SSS level. Fortunately, everything else went well. Filch's body gradually began to react with magic. The books are also ready. After his real-life case is successful, he can contact people to prepare for publication. Practicing the spell also went well. Cedric has successfully mastered the symphony spell and is practicing it at least 100 times a day to gain experience like crazy. It's not that you can't bear to use your experience. It was this kind of magic spell related to combat that he wanted to make his impression even more profound. The reason why I chose this. This is because there are many ways to speed up, but there are not many ways to increase the power of magic. Academically, too, things went well. Now when teachers are in class, they usually ask questions for a while to verify whether they are very familiar with the content of this lesson. Then he will be left alone. This gave him more time to study spells, potions, and learn 2nd and 3rd grade knowledge in advance. A month passed. Even the Ravenclaws accepted him as the top student in the 1st grade. But even if you get such honor, Cedric still studies intensively according to his schedule every day. In addition to ensuring 9 hours of sleep. All his time is so packed that even the Ravenclaws feel he's being too harsh on themselves. Cedric was happy with it. Time is never enough. He must be fully prepared before Harry Potter enters school, and kill at least 1 Horcrux every year, which is the lowest task he has given himself. But the accident happened quickly. This morning, Filch found him with a manic look on his face. I just can't take it anymore. I'm nice enough, but there are still some people, I'm not sure who keep messing with me. I seem to know who you are talking about. Can you tell me specifically? It's been a long time since Cedric saw Filch so irritable. He no longer looked like the hunchback of Notre Dame. Her hair is no longer greasy, and even her coat has long been replaced by a gold-embellished purple fabric. Not to mention handsome. At least he no longer looks like a water ghost fished out of the water, but the kind of friend you are willing to call him on the street. Someone has been transporting stuff to the castle. Filch pulled Cedric aside, they shipped a lot of spoof toys and candies that were difficult to clean up, mainly to pass among the Gryffindor students. I see. Cedric nodded. These prank toys are difficult to clean up in ordinary people's way. It seems that Filch was very tired during this period. After Filch's reminder, he basically identified the suspect and also thought of a magical prop. I can handle this. But I need to see the list of Gryffindors. Do you have one in your office? Yes, yes. Filch now had no doubts about Cedric. He took him directly to his office and gave him the list of all Gryffindor students. But that's not what Cedric really wants. Who else could do these things but the Weasley twins? His real destination is the map. After Cedric glanced at the list, I will help you catch them tonight, but leave it to me to punish them. I just want to relax. Random. Filch was fine with this. He is no longer obsessed with torturing students to gain a sense of existence. On the contrary, he responded to the greetings of the little wizards every day, and laughed so hard that his crow's feet almost appeared. I know many secret passages, do I need to tell you? No, I'll catch him in other ways. Cedric casually opened the drawer on the side, picked up the parchment and said to Filch, I want to remember something, can you give me this? Of course, I'll pick you up at Hufflepuff's door at 10 p.m., and we'll do it together. Filch didn't even look. Anyway, the drawers were filled with things he couldn't understand, probably all prank toys. He didn't even know how to destroy it. I don't even remember how many. That's fine. You're in the dark at night and I'm in the dark. As long as they dare to come out at night, we will definitely catch them. Cedric said confidently. At night. Filch picked up Cedric on time. Disillusionment. After casting the illusion spell, Cedric's figure was soon covered by ripples, disappearing into the darkness as if he had merged into water. In a dark castle. If you are not particularly careful, you can easily ignore him. I'll go ahead. Filch took the oil lamp and left first. Cedric slowly opened the parchment, pointed his wand at it and said, I solemnly swear that I have done no good, soon. Ink is rendered from the tip of the wand. Soon some lines appeared, which were combined into various rooms, and then some footprints and names began to appear. Above the parchment are large, curved green characters, suppliers of magical mischief makers, Gentleman Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot and Prongs, proudly present the Marauder's map. Soon, these writings disappeared. Cedric saw the entire Hogwarts map. In various lounges. The names were piled up so densely that it was impossible to tell who was who. This is probably why Gemini did not discover the dwarf. But people walking outside would see it clearly. Ahem. Cedric put away the map and whispered to Filch, go and wait at the statue of Gregory the Toady. 37. Dark Hogwarts. Filch and Cedric lurked at both ends of the corridor. Only the moonlight fell on the corridor through the floor-to-ceiling windows, making it appear extremely quiet and peaceful. Without Voldemort. At this time, I can fall asleep without any worries. There is no need to do so many things just because you want to become stronger. It's all that smelly snake's fault. Cedric hated it in his heart. When the time comes, I must give that old guy a few hard blows. While Voldemort was burning in his mind, a light suddenly flashed on his right side. Coming! Cedric hit his tall body around the corner. The light quickly disappeared, and then there was the rustling sound of clothes rubbing against each other. A murmur followed. It seemed like someone was scolding someone, and then the voice became quieter. Finally, there was a sound of heavy stone statues moving. After the sound of the sliding rails ended and the clicking of the locks came, Filch turned around from the other end. The yellow oil lamp was taken out from the robe and shone far into the darkness. No, it's Filch. Stop talking and run. He can't run away from us. Ta-ta-ta. The Weasley twins turned and ran. But at this time, Cedric also turned around. Hi, it's a pity to meet you in this situation. Cedric took out his wand. Stand still and kill Locomotor Mortis. Two-leg locking spells. Boom. Boom. The Weasley twins fell to the ground one after the other. The contents of the pockets were scattered all over the floor, with various colors and shapes. Filch rushed over with an oil lamp. Shit eggs, rotten eggs, trick wands, Duke B's sour popping candy. Looking at the prank props all over the place, his face turned green with anger. I just said why everything smells so bad lately. It turns out you guys have been playing tricks on me. Cedric saw that Filch's face was about to twist again. He hurried forward. First take away the wands of the two Weasleys on the ground, then turn them over and sit on the ground. In fact, Cedric knew what they were doing. Developing various new types of prank candies requires a lot of money. Not just for mixing. It even includes the cost of finding someone to test the medicine. Certainly. They often skip that last step. Place the product quietly somewhere and see if any curious people will be fooled and become their guinea pig. After Filch collected all the things on the ground, Cedric immediately said, "Mr. Filch, let me talk to them. If that doesn't work, I'll leave them to you next time. This is a condition that has been agreed upon long ago. Naturally, Filch would not regret it, for your sake." Finished. He angrily walked away holding those prank props. "No." Fred was devastated. "You'd better take us away." George shouted angrily. "Really? If you really want to go to detention for a week, I can call Mr. Filch back." Cedric silenced them with just one word. But the two brothers looked at him with anger and disbelief. "It's all your fault." Fred gritted his teeth. "We have walked this path several times. Filch definitely didn't know about this secret path before." George was even more confused. "How I know is not important, but I really want to know why you do this." Cedric had to ask knowingly. Only when he heard some news from their mouths could he react easily. "What does this have to do with you?" Fred looked wary. "Don't even think about knowing anything from us." George snorted coldly. The two brothers turned away at the same time. Cedric smiled and sat across from them. "Since they don't cooperate, then all we have to do is pretend to be a detective. I've asked around, you didn't buy these for your own fun, you just resold them at a higher price. It's too vulgar to make money, and the school doesn't have any big expenses. It's not for your own fun, it's not for making money and enjoying yourself, so what are you doing at the expense of violating school rules?" I saw Cedric glance over with a playful look. The two brothers suddenly felt guilty. "Take a guess." Fred turned his head to the other side. "If you guess it, we lose." After George finished speaking, the two brothers laughed together and even high-fived each other. "See them like this?" Cedric could only open his eyes of heaven. "Don't tell us, you just want to make money and do research and development yourself, right?" The two brothers were stunned at the same time. Serious research and development is definitely impossible. "Is it possible that you want to make your own prank props?" Cedric looked at the two of them. But at this moment, the two brothers no longer dared to look at him. The two exchanged glances, confirming that neither of them had told the story. I suddenly felt even more shocked. How on earth did he know? After arriving at Hogwarts, without the suppression of Mrs. Weasley, the two brothers happily tried everything they could play. Finally, I became interested in playing pranks at the same time. In their opinion, that is the biggest dream in life. The key is, this idea had just sprouted in their minds not long ago. Both of them were still in the stage of saving money and didn't tell anyone about it at all. "Isn't it possible?" Cedric chuckled, "You may want to open your own joke shop in the future." "Damn it!" Fred couldn't help it. "You peeped into our thoughts!" George yelled, holding his head. The two of them were scared and anxious. In the dark corridor of Hogwarts, sitting across from them was a guy who could guess their thoughts. This feeling is really uncomfortable. Especially the opponent is the kind of person who has the ability to suppress their learning existence in all directions. What's more, the two brothers have not forgotten the black and white bear on the Hogwarts Express. "I can invest." Cedric once again stopped the two brothers with one simple word. "Devil's temptation." Fred couldn't believe it. "Tell me your true purpose, devil." George bared his teeth and tried to make a fierce expression. "I just want to support my two classmates at Hogwarts." Cedric spread his hands. "At most, I want to have more income." "Why us?" Fred said something strange. "How can a person like you understand the true meaning of comedy?" George was also a little shaken. "I really have no interest in pranks." Cedric told the truth. "I actually have three purposes for doing this. First, I have funded two students who have dreams and are very capable of taking action. I believe my investment will pay off. Secondly, it took a long time for Mr. Filch to correct himself. I hope you won't mess with his mentality anymore. Third, I want to know the entire process of your research and development." It may help me understand the analogy and facilitate my research on magic spells and potions. What Cedric said was all from his heart, and he said it sincerely. They were all his true thoughts. Damn. Fred's voice was a little weak. I'm actually a little moved by what you said. George's voice also became blurred. Just when Cedric thought the two were about to agree, the two men suddenly shook their heads in unison and shouted in unison, "We regard you as our enemy, but you want to be our boss. No, 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 we still can't accept it." All right. Cedric sighed. He patted the dust on his body and stood up, then drew out his wand and pointed it at the two of them. Then, it seems we have to make the final decision. 38. What are you going to do? The Weasley twins shouted in unison. If Ronald saw his extremely handsome brothers screaming like this right now, they would probably be shocked. Of course I'll let you go. Cedric waved his wand and untied the two brothers. Then he explained to them, who looked confused, "Since you have rejected my kindness, from now on I can only deal with business matters. I'll punish you once I catch you. The penalties will gradually increase each time until the school sends your withdrawal notice to Mrs. Weasley. I hope you can reach a point where you can completely stop this behavior," Cedric said seriously. It was completely formal and official, and there was no trace of the care I showed just now to satisfy my classmates' wishes. Oh my god! Fred was scared. How about we go back and talk? George also showed a flattering smile. Cedric looked serious and motionless. In fact, he was scaring Gemini. If the other person just likes to sneak away at night, it will be difficult to expel them from school. But in this environment, how could the two brothers not be afraid in the face of Cedric, who was always telling the truth? My heart almost jumped out of my mouth. What did you say last sentence? Fred looked at his brother and blinked wildly. I'm actually a little moved by what you said. George understood and actually simulated the same demeanor he had when he spoke just now. Is that so? Cedric's face relaxed. But Fred was still a little unwilling. We have a condition. George couldn't continue after half of what he said. After all, he spoke temporarily, and the two brothers were stunned on the spot. But Cedric had already thought about this situation. Well, let's play a game. For the next 7 nights, between 10 and 11 o'clock every day, you can hide anywhere in Hogwarts, and I will come find you. If you lose, then you have to accept my conditions. I will sponsor you a total of 100 gold galleons every year. After graduation, I will also sponsor you to open a funny toy store. I need to hold 60% of the shares. The twins looked at each other. After coming to this school, they are not proud of anything else, but they are very confident in their peekaboo skills. Filch never found them, but was tricked by them. Even against the perfect Cedric, they felt that they would never lose in this regard. But not Filch. Fred emphasized. If you really win, then we agree. George gritted his teeth and made a decision. Okay, if I can't find you for one day, I will lose. Cedric reached out and pulled the two of them up. Faced with his big words, the two brothers were obviously very angry. But now the situation is stronger than the people. They all could only swear secretly in their hearts that they would wait until the day they win to mock Cedric again. Both of them have the kind of temper that they can't hold back. All the thoughts in his heart were written on his face, and Cedric didn't reveal it. The next 7 days, the contest between the three officially begins. Relying on the reputation of the Marauders map, Cedric found them within half an hour every day. This obviously hit them hard. Even on the last day, Cedric also stopped them at the door of the auditorium. Don't you think you still want to go to the Forbidden Forest? That's beyond Hogwarts. Seeing him suddenly appear, the two brothers collapsed completely. No. Fred fell to the ground holding his head. You are simply a devil. George and Fred collapsed on the ground side by side. This is too scary. They are like Sun Wukong. Even if they try their best, they can't escape the clutches of Cedric. If you lose, you have to admit defeat. Cedric patted their shoulders comfortingly. Be your own little brother. Absolutely lucky for them. Because since I want to protect them, I will definitely protect them in the future. No one picked up the next sentence of Gemini. That's called Gemini. You can continue to resell snacks from now on, but please don't let in the smelly toys. It will be very troublesome for Mr. Filch to clean them up. Stop torturing him. He is actually a pitiful man, and he was finally persuaded by me. It's not like you will always face a crazy Mr. Filch in the future. Cedric's words were both soft and hard. In addition, the two of them also have the temperament to admit defeat. So after a week of struggling with this matter, it was finally done. That's it. Fred gritted his teeth and stood up. When your funds are in place, we will start testing immediately. George also took his brother's hand and stood up. Ding, attract people to do good, reward 1 talent point and 2,000 experience points. Whoa! Cedric didn't expect such an unexpected surprise. The richness of the rewards shocked him a little. There were not so many rewards for Filch before. Was it because there were too many people? Or is it because the two brothers play a larger role in the plot? 2,000 experience points. From Professor Flitwick's notebook, 20 ordinary spells can be redeemed. It seems that I still need to think about this in the future. If it is true that the more important the character makes the changes, the more rewards he will receive. So what about training the 3 little ones? Twin stars like this can give you 1 talent point and 2,000 experience points, so if you collect 3 little ones. What a reward then! Cedric thought for a moment and suddenly felt that the future was bright. But the most important thing now is to go back and have a good sleep. In order to catch them these past few days, I haven't slept well at all. After solving the twin stars, Cedric resumed his crazy practice of magic spells. A few days passed smoothly, and then Filch found him again. On this day, he mysteriously pulled Cedric into his office. Look! Filch carefully took out a wand from his pocket. Under Cedric's gaze. After trying 3 times, he finally used the fluorescent flashing spell. I succeeded. The excited Filch burst into tears. I'm sorry, I lied to you. In fact, I am a squib. He hugged Cedric tighter. No, I was a squib, you saved me. He once thought he would spend his whole life like this, and then he might die in obscurity somewhere in Hogwarts. Unexpectedly, Cedric brought light to him. You are my savior. The rebirth of the squib. It would be really difficult to understand someone without his energy. Moreover, Cedric also taught him how to truly gain the respect of his students. No matter what it is a great kindness. I didn't even know about this. Cedric feigned surprise at the right time to comfort the tall, lanky man in front of him. Just as he was thinking. When my books were ready to be published, the system beeped suddenly. Ding, both wishes of Filch character template have been fulfilled, and the reward is 300 gold galleons, legendary value +1, and 3,000 experience points. Pet affinity has been raised to S level. This card has been saved in the card library, the effect is permanent, and the card slot will no longer be consumed. Money, legend points, experience points, and talent improvements. This is surprising enough. But I don't know if the hard work finally paid off. When Cedric asked Professor Flitwick for book publishing suggestions, the other party gave him a brand new surprise. 39. Mr. Horace * Slughorn. Cedric quickly remembered. Isn't this the sofa teacher? In the original work, he appeared very late and also participated in the Battle of Hogwarts. But the most famous thing about him is that title, he was the teacher who taught Voldemort the knowledge about Horcruxes. Some people say that he taught it directly, while others say that Voldemort had basically confirmed it and just checked with him for the final time. Anyway, after talking to him, Voldemort officially started making the Horcrux. Yes, he has a wide circle of friends, and he especially likes to associate with famous and potential people. Flitwick blinked at Cedric. Obviously, he, the dual champion, and Cedric, the youngest animagus in history, fit each other's requirements very well. Let's go find him, he'll be happy to help. Clear. Cedric readily agreed. Professor Flitwick is right. Mr. Slughorn is famous for being good at finding high-quality students. After returning to Hogwarts to teach, he even founded the Slug Club. It is just to facilitate the communication between the outstanding students he recognizes. But it is easy to turn a blind eye to ordinary students. In the original novel, he couldn't even remember Ronald's name. In short, this is a guy with a lot of connections. This guy's potions are also very powerful, and he seems to have researched on making magic props. Horcruxes can't do it themselves. However, some excellent magic props can help you in many ways and are worthy of your own research. Contacting the other party was also very smooth. 3 days later, Professor Flitwick took Cedric to meet him at the Three Broomsticks pub in Hogsmeade Village. That's amazing, you must be Cedric. Just met. The other party greeted Cedric warmly. Hello, Mr. Slughorn, I have long heard that you are a master of potions. I still have many things to ask you for in the future. Cedric looked at the other person silently. His round bald head, walrus-like sparse beard, and straight belly are all appearances he likes to enjoy. But he also has his own advantages. Elegance, enthusiasm, kindness, and a little bit of arrogance allow him to quickly build relationships with people he wants to get to know. I don't know if it's Cedric's illusion. He even felt. The other party was a little too enthusiastic about him. No problem at all. Printing, publishing, and the rest of the process. Do you like the book signing party? I can arrange everything. I can't say that they are all the best, but there is absolutely no problem in arranging first-class channels. Slughorn smiled happily while holding the mead. In addition to enjoying himself, his favorite thing to do in this life is to make friends with all kinds of potential new stars. Especially that kind. Young wizards and wizards with prominent family backgrounds or with extraordinary talents. This allows him to always get benefits from his connections. It was just that he took a wrong look at that student, which made him have to leave Hogwarts sadly. Since then, he was often secretly sad. When he thought of those bright future stars of the wizarding world, all of whom thrived at Hogwarts but did not know him, a chill of extreme sadness would well up in his mind. Until Cedric showed up. The youngest animagus in history, what an incredible achievement! After receiving Flitwick's invitation, he set out immediately. This time we meet. After briefly communicating with Professor Flitwick, and then chatting with Cedric about some knowledge-related topics, his keen radar immediately confirmed that the other person was a rising future star. Cedric didn't even have to do anything. The system directly sounded the prompt, "Congratulations on passing Slughorn's test and gaining 1000 experience points. Ding, you moved Slughorn successfully. You get bonus talent points +1, Slughorn character template card." Cedric opened it and took a look. Sure enough, the other party's ability to recognize people was condensed into a skill. Template card, Horus * Slughorn talents, potions, spells. This talent can be upgraded to S level, third-rate master wizard, magic +5 points, upper limit of 80 points. Special talent, knowing people, consuming experience points, minimum 100 points, you can check someone's hidden talents, shortcomings, etc. There is a 10% probability of getting wrong information, a 50% probability of failure, a 10% probability obtain incomplete information. Life wish list, the first item, discover the bright stars of the future, please become a future star that satisfies him. Phased rewards, the more famous you are, the more experience points and talent points you can get. The second item, fame and fortune. Give him a gift and you can get corresponding experience points and talent points according to the amount. Item 3, Voldemort dies or makes up for his guilt, needs to be witnessed or acknowledged by key figures, Harry, Dumbledore. Completing this wish list will prevent this template card from occupying the slot of the template card. Sure enough, he is also a treasured teacher. Cedric was secretly happy. Although his ordinary talent basically overlaps with Snape's, that special talent is enough to make people shine. Needless to say, he is also an excellent NPC for gaining experience points and talent points. Needless to say about his fame, but his second biggest wish is that he likes students to give him gifts. Good guy. It's really real and not offensive. The meeting that day was very successful. The three quickly hammered out some details for publication. Mr. Slughorn was also invited by the two to write a preface and review for the book, which can be regarded as a relationship with him. In the last moment of separation, he even whispered praise into their ears, solved the millennium problem of squibs. As long as it works properly, you may be awarded the Order of Merlin. Recall the other person's character template. Coupled with the treacherous accidents honed in previous lives. Cedric immediately replied, "If there is really a chance then, I might have to trouble you to put it into operation." Ha 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 ha. Slughorn looked delighted. In some ways, Cedric's ability in this area is even stronger than that of the proud Professor Flitwick. In his eyes, this is a very important trait for success. Slughorn patted his shoulder cherishingly and praised him sincerely, "I will definitely not be wrong this time. You will definitely be a great person in the future. Thank you for your compliment, I will continue to write to you." Cedric naturally would not refuse a new learning channel. Although Snape's potions are very strong, the opponent is also a master of potions, and a new perspective may give him new inspiration. It's a deal. Slughorn shook hands with the two men vigorously, then strode away. There is a new job. He is very motivated now. As for publishing the book, you have to wait for a while, but that is the skill of recognizing people. Cedric soon got a taste of it. 40. Here, these are wholesale candies for you, enough for you to sell for a while. The first thing Cedric did when he returned to Hogwarts. Just hand over the candy you bought for 80 gold galleons to the Weasley brothers. Firstly, it saves them from being idle looking for work, and secondly, it can also save a little money. Are you kidding me? Fred took the small backpack and gestured to himself. The Weasley twins are also tall, and this small bag looks like a satchel when compared to them. With this amount, can you believe we sold it in one night? In order to verify his statement, George went in and took out the money. This set was found to be wrong. Fred! George exclaimed quietly. He grabbed Fred's hand into it, and then both of them were shocked. The bag seemed to be only the size of a palm, but the space inside was as big as half a desk. This is a traceless extension spell. Cedric explained, the candies inside count as my bet for this year, so it will be more secretive. What the hell? Fred opened the bag as far as it could go and put his eyes closer, as if he wanted to have a thorough look at what the interior space looked like. You are really a magician. George looked at Cedric with a surprised look on his face. Everyone is in first grade. But Cedric always gave people the feeling that he was an adult. The more contact you have with him, the more you realize that you are far behind him. Come on, you are very talented too. Cedric acted on a whim. Use the ability to recognize people directly on the two of them. Minus 100 experience points. Target, Fred. Result, he is a good student. An error message comes up. Minus 100 experience points. Target, Fred. Result, no matter how critical the moment, you can always make the right decision. Minus 100 experience points. Target, George. Result, he will be a great guy. Well, that's right. Minus 100 experience points. Target, George. Result, failure. Come again. Come again. Minus 100 experience points. Target, George. Result, he has a flexible mind and always has all kinds of clever ideas, but some are quite outrageous, such as always wanting to teach his self-righteous brother Percy a lesson. Well, that's absolutely true. Unknowingly, Cedric spent 1,000 experience points and checked the two people repeatedly. After you know what you are doing. He opened his mouth and warned the two of them, this is just a personal suggestion. George, if you have many ideas, you can try more, but Fred considers things more comprehensively, so you can listen to him more when making decisions. The two brothers looked up sharply at the same time. Cedric was startled by their actions. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? No. Fred looked frustrated. I just suddenly feel that I really can't compare to you. George rolled his eyes. Okay, you guys get busy, I'm leaving. After verifying the power of knowing people, Cedric soon thought of another excellent use, that of Hufflepuff's Quidditch team. In order to fulfill Professor Sprout's third life wish, this Quidditch Cup is one of the 3 honors that cannot be missed. Soon it was training day on Friday. After spending a full 3,000 experience points, Cedric started to make suggestions. Maria, I noticed that you seem to be paying attention to the ball. Maybe you can try the goalkeeper position. Sinclaven, try your left hand, it's more powerful. Vincent, your movements will always change when you dive down. You can try changing your movements. This is because Hufflepuffs are good-tempered. Many people adopted Cedric's advice directly. After some adjustment, many people found that his advice was actually very effective, and most of them accepted his advice after trying it. Wait until the training is over. They got together to discuss it, and on the way back to the castle, they pulled Cedric and said, how about you become the captain? Yes, we all think it's okay. You are good-looking, good at homework, and can cook. The advice given by the key is very pertinent. We all agree that you will be the captain. They all had no idea. Cedric, who wants to earn glory through Quidditch, has no problem. So that's it. First year Cedric not only joined the Quidditch team, but also directly became the captain of Hufflepuff. After reaping the benefits of pointers, Cedric began to make more bold attempts. That night, while he was walking in the lounge, Tyne came to ask questions again. This guy was also one of the classmates who basically surrounded him. Cedric, I'm sorry, can you teach me this levitation spell again? Tyne looked sad. Recently, he has been annoyed by this floating spell. He has learned other spells well, but this spell has stuck him for almost a week without making any progress. Cedric was also very aware of his situation. This is not a question of presentation. But there are other reasons that they haven't discovered yet. -100 experience points. Target, Tyne. Result, failure hiss. Cedric released it again with great pain, and this time he successfully obtained his information. -100 experience points. Target, Tyne. Disadvantage, when reciting the magic spell, you will subconsciously inhale and breathe when the 6th tone is reached. The spell is relatively long. I see. This is really hard to find. It's like when some powerful singer sings, you can't hear his breath. But when it comes to magic spells, it is considered a shortcoming. Especially the floating spell is relatively long. Wingardim Leviosa. There are 7 or 8 syllables in total. No wonder I had been listening to Professor Flitwick for so long and still couldn't discover his problem. This is finally solved. Although there was some pain in his heart, Cedric was still really happy for this classmate. You can cast it again first and let me see. Cedric asked Tyne to try again. This time he carefully observed the other person's lips, and sure enough he found a subtle change of breath. This is a pause. This is also what causes the spell to fail. I see. Cedric explained it quickly. Tyne tried the method several times and found that it was really effective. This is amazing. Tyne tried twice. Under his forcible control, 2 of the 3 casts were successful. Sudden success. Let Tyne jump up on the spot holding the wand, then rush around the table to hug Cedric. I can do it. I can really do it. Thank you, Cedric, I love you so much. Look at him looking so happy. The distress in Cedric's heart was diluted by joy. But unexpectedly, the system actually gave him another surprise here: get sincere gratitude from classmates and gain 500 experience points, etc. I spent 200 and got a reward of 500, so I made 300. Cedric's eyes lit up. Isn't this a new channel for gaining experience points? 41. Cedric thought he could gain points by relying on this. But I didn't expect it. The scheme quickly collapsed. Hello, classmate Cedric. The female Slytherin classmate in front of her gently stroked the big wave beside her ear, and then winked at Cedric. The ambiguous laughter of my friends could be heard in my ears. Under the table, at least 2 people touched him with their legs. Of course Cedric understood that this person didn't really ask the question. But he still greeted me with a smile. Is there something you don't understand? Certainly. The other party sat down quietly and chatted for more than 10 minutes before leaving. Before leaving. Instead, he squeezed Cedric's palm and rubbed it for a while. After all, you guys are more precocious here. Cedric smiled bitterly in his mind. It was okay to ask questions, but if everyone was like this, it would delay him from earning experience points. He might as well practice the spell himself. And the choice of girlfriend. Cedric also wants to take a look at the legendary first wife Zhongqiu. First of all, she is of Huxia descent, and her appearance fits his aesthetics very well. In fact, it is said that in the original book, she ended up marrying a muggle who looked very much like Cedric. Such infatuation. It's also very much in line with his wishes. But of course he won't be with the other person just because of the original work. After all, we have to wait until the other party enters school next year to take a look and get to know each other better, but before that, there is no rush. The key age is not too old either. Cedric dismissed distractions and once again focused on growing in strength. There are actually not that many students who actually have questions for consultation. So the daily teaching time was shortened by him. With his dedicated practice, he was the first to reach level 10 in his symphony skills. Symphony casting, full level. Keep the rhythm of waving the wand between castings. After casting the spell, the magician can increase the power of the spell by 10% to 50% layer by layer according to your emotions. Practice a magic spell to the full level, and you will be rewarded with 500 experience points and 1 kilogram of magic potion. The reward for the potion turns out to be here. What Cedric was happiest about was not the potion worth 10 gold galleons, But it's the core of the skill that Flitwick teaches, emotions. So-called symphony spell casting. It's just an exciting rhythm integrated into the action of waving the wand. Listen while practicing. When it comes to actual combat, while waving the wand, the music will automatically come to mind. The actual increase in power actually comes from one's own excited heart. As everyone knows, Professor Flitwick not only loves symphony, but is also an excellent symphony conductor. Cedric can even be pushed backwards. Professor Flitwick invented this technique at that time. Probably before a certain duel, he was listening to the symphony to relax and prepare. Then during the duel, he found that he was still humming the song in his heart, and the power of the spell also increased greatly. In fact, this is the impact of emotions. For example, after Mrs. Weasley saw her child dead, she was able to blow Bella to pieces with 3 consecutive spells. Just like, Dumbledore believes that love is the greatest magic. But this sentence was the greatest irony to him. His greatest achievement in the first half of his life was to defeat his lover with his own hands. He and everyone he loved perished in the tower. And that evil Ministry of Magic not only recognized Dumbledore's most miserable day, but even awarded him a medal for it. The only gain. From then on, their 2 names can appear together on the Chocolate Frogs card. That was the closest they had been since 1945. Think of this. Cedric decided to mail some clothes and parchment to that person in the future. At least the last letter. Stop writing from his own sheets. Perhaps, he could still keep Dumbledore alive until then. Until then, he had to be on guard against the temptation to wear Marvolo Gaunt's ring. Really? Although you are staring at me. But I was moved by your stories and am ready to let you see them again before you die. Cedric teased Dumbledore in the void. And of course the Ministry of Magic. It really has no positive effect at all. If there is a chance in the future, I must take care of it. Return to the skill itself. After Cedric figured out that this spell actually relied on the influence of emotions to exert its effect. Then he changed the song in his heart to, Get Up. Outstanding effect. Time passes day by day. Things with books get done faster. According to Mr. Slughorn's letter, printing is already being arranged. The other party vowed in the letter, it will definitely be on the market before Christmas Eve. It will be placed in the best-selling section of Flourishes and Blott's bookstore in Diagon Alley and will be on display for at least a month. Please believe me about the medal, I have someone above me. Cedric completely trusted the other party's connections. He then focused on the upcoming first Quidditch match. The power of the adjustments he made at the expense of 3,000 experience points gradually became apparent. The training of the Hufflepuff Quidditch team is getting better and better, and they are already at least half as good as when he first came here. Training goes smoothly. Everyone's enthusiasm has also improved a lot, and they even agreed to Cedric's request for an extra hour of practice every week. As long as other colleges don't produce monsters. So today's Quidditch Cup should belong to them, and now Hufflepuff has the most house points. Just win the Quidditch match. So this year's 2 honors are basically gone. After another week of intensive training, November officially entered. The Quidditch match is officially on the agenda. The competition format is round robin. Each college will compete with the other 3 colleges in turn. Hufflepuff's first opponent is Ravenclaw. Game day. 11 o'clock in the morning. In the lounge, everyone gathered around Cedric and cheered him on. Captain, don't be nervous, just perform as usual. Ravenclaw is not a strong team. As usual, we will definitely win. That's right. Although we were inferior in previous years, we have become much stronger since you came. Come on, guys. Cedric is naturally not afraid of this little scene, let's enjoy the game. After cheering with everyone, he walked first, leading the team towards the playing field. Saw the captain's logo on him. Also waiting nearby, the wizards from the Ravenclaw Quidditch team all cast surprised glances. You're actually Hufflepuff's Quidditch captain. Roger Davis, captain of the Ravenclaw, was greatly surprised. The same surprise also occurred in the explanation room. What the hell? Lee Keaton's exclamation voice came out from the microphone without any concealment. The captain of Hufflepuff is actually Cedric. He is a good friend of the Weasley twins. Because Gemini is too shy to speak out, they are now employed by Cedric. So he is still very loyal and prejudiced against Cedric. This is simply a rogue move. Shut up, this is authorized by Dean Sprout, came Professor McGonagall's lowered voice. Then, she announced in a too high voice, Team Hufflepuff is invited. It seems there is really no chance. Cedric ran out first. The moment he went out, he also completed the extra points. Legendary value -1, 5 points remaining. Quidditch talent has been raised from SS level to SSS level. The first talent is upgraded to SSS level, and the reward is 3000 experience points. Potion material, Silent Bird Feathers *100. Cedric noticed instantly. This is completely different from the SS level feeling. 42. 11 o'clock noon. The stands around the Quidditch pitch were packed with people. Almost all the teachers and students of the school came here, their seats were all raised into the air, and many of them brought binoculars. The moment Cedric appears, the entire venue let out a huge exclamation, and everyone was stunned by this incident. Forget it, Cedric joins the Quidditch team in his first year. Now he actually became the captain? So? The youngest captain of the Quidditch team in history? The youngest seeker in history? Damn it! He didn't come here to study. He clearly came to Hogwarts to win everyone's glory. Then let the children from other families all look forward to it. 11 years old. For children from other families, it would be great if they could fly into the sky on a broomstick. You start playing tricks. Everyone was shocked, except Hufflepuff's classmates. They instantly pulled out a huge cocky banner, which read in gilt magic font, Cedric, Hufflepuff's guide. There are colorful little people surrounding the font. They move in unison and are constantly dancing cheerleaders. Apparently, they absorbed his original allusion to King's Cross. Xian cheers erupted again in the venue. These are the Ravenclaws, cheering on their Quidditch team. Before the sport became clear, even the studious ones have become competitive. Kids, are you ready? Mrs. Hooch is the referee. She stood in the middle of the court holding a broomstick, calling the teams on both sides to come to her. The competition must be fair and honest. Mrs. Hooch gave a brief warning and then asked everyone to disperse. Everyone, please ride on your broomstick, then with a whistle. The members of both teams took off at the same time, and the game officially began. The quaffle was snatched by the Hufflepuff team. I don't know if it's my imagination, but they seem to be more powerful. Lee Keaton stared at the field. It's not just him. Ravenclaw's players also discovered that Hufflepuff on the opposite side was obviously much stronger than last year. Their flying skills became more refined. Even the desire to press is much stronger than before. Ravenclaw, who couldn't adapt, was suddenly devastated by them. 3 goals have been scored in 2 minutes. If it continues at this level, I'm afraid there will be a score difference of dozens of points. The Ravenclaws couldn't help but raise their heads and look at the figure that hadn't moved for a long time in the air. Isn't this the only change in their team? The bark of a human shadow tree. Cedric's reputation for perfection has long spread. Now this name seems to have been miraculously verified once again on the Quidditch pitch. He is really getting more and more perverted. The Weasley twins who were peddling bets said in unison. The Slytherins were divided into 2 groups. The senior Slytherins were very afraid of Cedric. With Hufflepuff's strong rise, they, the original Quidditch Kings, were the team that was most affected. But the first and second year Slytherins are different. They looked at Cedric with a bit of admiration, as if they were looking at the person they admired the most. The school year isn't even here yet. They who pursue victory and worship the strong are almost conquered. All they could think about was how to get Cedric to wear the green robe they had made. I don't know how to tell him, it's cold and he should put on some clothes. Will he refuse? If it were somewhere else, maybe the Ravenclaws would also choose to stay away, but this was on the Quidditch field with loud shouts. Naturally, some people are dissatisfied. I really don't believe it. Ravenclaw Batter Jensen pursed his lips. Whoosh! He saw the opportunity and hit the bludger hard towards Cedric. The iron bludger fired with a whirring sound. And Cedric seemed to be still wandering around, not noticing the coming crisis at all. Team leader! Several shouts sounded in the air at the same time. But Cedric still seems unmoved. Ravenclaw's 2 batters both rushed back to defend, but it was obviously too late. The bludger flew towards Cedric like a cannonball. Oh! Just when the Hufflepuffs closed their eyes and couldn't bear to watch, there was no cry of pain in the sky. Instead, Jason exclaimed, "How is that possible? What did he just do?" He rubbed his eyes vigorously to confirm that Cedric was still the same, sitting on his broomstick with half-lidded eyes. Eerily yes. The bludger he had hit personally had flown past his position and had obviously been dodged by him. Just when everyone was stunned, the magic on the bludger begins to take effect. It spun around behind Cedric and then crashed into the nearest him again. This time though there was no blow from Jason. But the material of the bludger itself determines that the damage is definitely not low. At this time, Cedric finally opened his eyes completely. This feels really good. He laughed loudly. Then he leaned forward slightly and flew directly towards Jason with his broomstick. What is he going to do? Lee Keaton immediately shouted, could it be that because Jason attacked him, he wanted to knock him down? Don't forget it. Jason still has a wooden stick in his hand. He can even give him a stick directly. Jordan. McGonagall spoke again. Sorry. Lee Keaton immediately apologized, it's definitely wrong to hit someone, and it's not okay to hit someone, so. He drawled. He even stood up directly for a better observation. In his sight, Cedric was right in front of Jason, urgently completing a 360-degree turn, and narrowly missed him less than 10 centimeters away. But the bludger didn't fly past. There was a pop. Jason's face instantly emitted blood. Incredible. Lee Keaton's shout gave the loudest praise for Cedric's behavior. A 360-degree spiral turn, Cedric retaliated with a bludger from Jason. Exquisite. Lee Keaton, who already loved Quidditch, felt that the blood in his body suddenly boiled. The great Hufflepuff seeker. Cedric inherits the glorious tradition of Hufflepuff. Dimitrov. Zagraf. Levski. Their souls are possessed at this moment. These are all the main players of the Bulgarian national Quidditch team. At this moment, he is not fighting alone, he is not alone. Ziza, there was a burst of noise from the loudspeaker, and then Professor McGonagall's voice sounded again, you went too far. Cheers and the sound of wind surrounded my ears. Cedric felt great at the moment. The wind around him could tell him what was around him. It felt like a holographic projection of an electric car, with no blind spots in 360 degrees. Not just close by. Everything within 10 meters, the wind will reach his ears. And his flight. He could easily test the limits of this broomstick and make all kinds of incredible moves within this limit. The sloth rolls around the tree, the Transylvanian fake, the Rinsky fake. He does all of these with ease. Even this is far from his limit. Cedric immediately decided to buy himself a better broom during the summer vacation. By then he will be able to speed up by 30%. In short, this feeling of freedom like the wind is really great. He is like an elf, freely moving around the field. Soon. He locked on that golden touch. 43. Cedric didn't dive immediately. He was now the most conspicuous presence in the room, and the Ravenclaw seeker was even closer to the snitch. It would be bad to rush forward and be beaten first by the opponent. So he pretended to be searching, turned half a circle in the air, and slowly flew towards where the golden snitch was. Cedric is flying in the air. His SSS-level talent allowed him to instantly blend into the wind. When the body is freed from the constraints of gravity, an unprecedented sense of lightness comes over me, like a feather fluttering in the breeze, with only the wind whispering in my ears. Have to say, he really fell in love with the feeling of flying in the wind. No wonder it is said that flying from the ground to the sky like a flock of birds is one of the oldest dreams of mankind in history. But it's time to end. Cedric suddenly pulled up his broomstick and locked his eyes on the golden snitch. It is small in size and flies very fast, and the sound of the wind it carries is very different. Even in a busy Quidditch stadium, you need to listen carefully. But now he has it locked. Cedric is charging. Lee Keaton quickly noticed Cedric's movement. Although Ravenclaw's team members did not see the golden snitch, the two closest ones followed him without any thought. Cedric heard the wind. Swinging the broomstick under the seat, the body changed several positions in the air, easily getting rid of the two people. He thrust his right arm forward. The golden snitch, whose wings kept flapping, was caught in his hand. Cedric. 180 points for Hufflepuff, yes, 40 points for Ravenclaw. Victory belongs to Hufflepuff. After Lee Keaton was overjoyed, he sighed with fear. It seems that in this year's Quidditch Cup, Hufflepuff will be the enemy of all colleges. The victory ended. The Hufflepuffs fired the magic salutes in their hands one after another. The colorful salutes spelled out patterns in the air, and the cocky little badgers put on a proud and silly smile in the air. Colorful ribbons are flying all over the sky, and trumpets are ringing in the sky. What an unexpected ending! The Weasley twins looked up, their voices mixed with excitement and worry. The excitement is that Hufflepuff's win gave them a run for their money. The worry is, soon after, Gryffindor will also face an enhanced version of Hufflepuff. This time the Quidditch Cup, completely expanding Cedric's fame from first and second grade to all grades. Perfect, someone else's child, Quidditch savior. His titles also became more and more varied. Soon after, the game between Gryffindor and Slytherin is also completed. Slytherin's 190 points beat Gryffindor's 80 points. After all four colleges completed their first games, winter arrived quietly. One morning, when Cedric got up, he found that his classmates were standing by the window. It turned out that overnight, the whole world was covered with snow. Also this morning, he received a letter from Mr. Slughorn. The book is officially on sale, and you will be the shining star this Christmas. Don't rush about the Order of Merlin. I'll do it when your reputation grows a little more. You already have some ideas. As expected, it was Mr. Slughorn who had deep connections. Cedric was very lucky. Perhaps because it takes time to verify the effect, his fame has not been officially transmitted back to Hogwarts before the holidays. This allows him to enjoy the pre-Christmas cheer with relative ease. Because there are still little wizards who need to celebrate the festival at school. The entire Hogwarts was decorated from the inside out. The auditorium is decorated beautifully and spectacularly, with 12 towering Christmas trees filling the entire interior with vibrant green. The Christmas tree is hung with shiny wafers. They reflected the light from hundreds of candles, illuminating the entire auditorium with a golden glow. On the hanging branches, there were all kinds of candies hanging everywhere, and the inventory in the hands of the Weasley twins was unsaleable for a time. But they had already sold dozens of gold galleons. Cedric has seen Gryffindor students hurriedly running through the corridors holding their bleeding noses more than once. It looks like their nosebleed nougat is almost a success. Before the holidays, Cedric brought his special huge hot pot to Hagrid for a meal. It's really good. Hagrid held a huge fork and kept moving the mutton that was already tumbling in the copper pot. Dip in sesame sauce. Then put it into your mouth in large gulps. He enjoyed eating so much that he didn't even notice the sesame paste on his beard. You're such a genius, Cedric. Roast suckling pig, roast lamb chops, and this beating copper stove? It opens my eyes every time. This is nothing. Cedric took out a magic notebook from his arms. He recorded this himself. It mainly contains 10 commonly used magic spells, as well as selected content for the third grade of 6 main courses, and the learning methods are also marked in detail. This is what he promised Hagrid. Although this teaching is destined to be extremely long, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Nothing is unconquerable. This is my Christmas gift to you. After reading this book, you will be able to pass most of the homework in 3rd grade. Cedric handed over the notebook. He also found out. No wonder so many wizards like to use notebooks. There are so many things that need to be memorized. Potions class, herbology class. They are 2 bottomless terrifying monsters that are worthy of even ordinary wizards studying for a lifetime. Even if you master the graduation content, the amount of information is terrifying. Even Cedric has slowed down his pace of learning. Otherwise, if he learns new things and forgets old ones, it will be more loss than gain. Thank you so much. Hagrid treasured the notebook in his arms. Although Dumbledore fought for it, his wand was not confiscated or broken by the Ministry of Magic. But if he wants to use the wand openly, then you must pass the OWL, which is the Ordinary Wizarding Level examination. Food and notebook. Hagrid was obviously so happy that he was a little incoherent. Thank you very much, Cedric. Except for that one. You are the most powerful wizard I have ever seen. It couldn't be Dumbledore. Cedric joked. But when he saw Hagrid scratching his head and adding a little wizard, he understood instantly. It turns out to be the amazing Harry Potter. It seemed that no matter how good I was, I still couldn't get over the big mountain of Harry Potter in Hagrid's mind. Cedric really likes Harry. But he also sees the other party as a challenge. He was really curious about how far he had to go before he could surpass Harry Potter in people's minds. It's not that he insists on comparing. Who makes 2 people's goal be Voldemort? I've taken care of Voldemort, but it's easier for you, Harry. Cedric had dinner with Hagrid, and then went to the administrator's office to find Filch, carrying another gift. Just opened the door. Cedric saw 2 figures hurriedly leaving. It was actually the two of them? It seems that all the rumors are not groundless. 44. Who? Filch's anger instantly turned into embarrassment when he saw it was Cedric. Oh. You're here. Seeing the air in the room solidify, he pointed to the skinny witch beside him and introduced, "This is my friend." "Of course I know, hello, Mrs. Pants." Cedric goes to the library every day, so how could he not recognize the witch in front of him? "Happy Halloween." He generously placed his gift on Filch's table. Then he turned around and left. He won't tell anyone. Mrs. Pants did not dare to speak just now. It was not until Cedric left that she asked tremblingly. "Absolutely not." Filch spoke firmly. He came to the table and put his left hand on Cedric's gift, with a grateful smile on his face. "He is not the kind of child who makes trouble without reason." "No, you shouldn't call him a child. He saved me." "What?" Mrs. Pants was visibly surprised. He didn't expect Filch to have such a high opinion of Cedric. "And redemption? Is this too exaggerated?" "It was originally planned as a Halloween surprise." Filch slowly took out his wand from his arms. After a while, Cedric was walking towards the dormitory when he suddenly heard the system prompt. "Congratulations on passing Mrs. Pinksy's test and gaining 1000 experience points. Ding, Mrs. Pinksy's character template has fulfilled both her wishes. The reward is 200 gold galleons, legendary value +1, and 3000 experience points. Acquired the skill Yuan Guangji. This card has been saved in the card library, the effect is permanent, and the card slot will no longer be consumed." "What? Mrs. Pants? When?" Everyone in Cedric was stunned by this surprise. "Open the system, template card, Irma Pants talent, low-level wizard, magic +5 points, upper limit 60 points. Special talent, exquisite memory, you have a good brain and can already achieve photographic memory. Life bucket list, completed. The wish is no longer visible. But if nothing else, it probably has something to do with Filch. Could it be? Because Filch was a squib before, the two of them never succeeded. Now that I have cured him, their wishes have come true?" Cedric couldn't help but sigh. It seems that good people are rewarded. If I hadn't been sincere to them and sent Filch an early Christmas gift, I wouldn't have been hit by this surprise. 5 points of magic power is already an unexpected surprise. Once the experience value reaches 50 points, no more magic power can be added. Cedric doubted it. That's the limit of an ordinary underage wizard. Except for the first time. Currently, the magic power can only be improved by relying on the natural growth of his body and completing template cards. Speaking of Madame Pants's template, it was the first one he had completely completed and had magic added to it. Filch's was not magical. Cedric thought about many people. But I never thought that the first template with magic would be hers. Next, the powerful memorization skill of Bobbin is even more ridiculously strong. Especially for Cedric who wants to accumulate knowledge quickly. It's definitely a bug-level skill. Just this one. That's enough to offset Cedric's tens of thousands of hours of memorization time. After all, even if he was as self-disciplined as he was, he wouldn't be able to memorize all the contents of the ordinary wizarding examination within a year. That's different now. With this skill, I can directly complete the accumulation of knowledge in the next 2 to 3 months. Then start moving towards higher points. The strength of a wizard is closely related to magic power, proficiency in spells, magic props, potions, etc. So in addition to contacting the plot characters, all Cedric could think of were powerful potions and powerful combat magic items. This is actually something he has never been able to figure out. Since they can create all kinds of powerful magic props, have they never thought about building some equipment for themselves? Is it too difficult or there are other reasons? Cedric can only find out by trying it himself. Although there are many things I want to try now, it is too late. It is already time to leave school for the holidays. Or Mrs. Pants. I probably won't have time to go to Filch during the day. Cedric returned to the dormitory and got dressed. This time he only brought a small suitcase with him. Anyway, this time it's just about a week's rest. He did bring more books, hoping to read as much as possible in the next few days. Pack your bags. Thad immediately boarded the Hogwarts Express again with his classmates. A few hours later, he met his parents who came to pick him up. However, this trip home was not as enjoyable as he had imagined while studying. Because Slughorn continues to build momentum. The second day after returning home, Daily Prophet published his new book Magical Savior, on the front page. With title, The Youngest Animagus in History? Not only that, the youngest squib solver in history. The photo of Cedric's last visit to the Ministry of Magic occupies a quarter of the entire page. Transfiguration Today also caught a wave of popularity. The news about the youngest animagus in history has been released again. Which weekly is even more outrageous? Directly wrote an article, Cedric's Perfect Development History? Congratulatory letters keep coming. Mr. Diggory stood in the doorway, his laugh louder than the owl's wings. Mrs. Diggory was humming in the house. She neatly stacked the envelopes on the table and waited for Cedric to reply one by one after he got up. And Cedric's work doesn't stop there. Slughorn took him to attend various small banquets every day. Almost nothing is the same every day. Until the last day of vacation. Everyone can return home and sum up what they have gained during this period. First Class Order of Merlin, Stable. Slughorn's face glowed. He looked at Cedric almost lovingly, his face glowing red from the continuous drinking in recent days. It wasn't just him who drank too much. Professor Flitwick was lying on the table, burying his face directly in his hands, and there was already a faint cry coming out. Mr. Diggory smiled from ear to ear. But because he drank too much, he could no longer speak complete words. Mrs. Diggory was tired and drunk, and had gone back to her room to rest. In this room, only Cedric, who was allowed to drink juice because he was still young, could still stand in front of Slughorn at this moment. Tomorrow is the big day for you to be awarded a medal. After Slughorn finished speaking, he closed his eyes and fell asleep on the sofa. 45. Are you ready? It's time to go. Early the next morning, Slughorn knocked on the door and shouted to the two people inside. Okay kid. Mrs. Diggory's face was filled with relief. She was there reluctantly, and finally adjusted the collar of Cedric's custom-made suit. Cedric looked into her red eyes. It felt like she was going to cry the next moment. As expected. The next second he felt a suffocating embrace. I'm so proud of you, kid, someone said. Children who did not feel happiness when they were young will not feel a sense of accomplishment from starting a family and starting a career when they grow up. Because they cannot understand the importance of family. In other words, Cedric is glad that he has traveled through time. This allowed him, an orphan, to feel the warmth of family, and also saved the couple from the pain of losing a child. I don't know if this full of love is enough to destroy Voldemort. Cedric felt that he was probably really nervous to think so wildly. He rubbed his face. After saying goodbye to his mother, he followed Slughorn out of the room. Professor Flitwick, wearing a delicate purple suit, was waiting. The Tigress are also ready. Let's go through the fireplace. Slughorn said very proudly, the Ministry of Magic has opened a separate exit for us today. Let Cedric pass first. Professor Flitwick was very generous and gave up his qualification to be the first to start. He sprinkled a handful of fluo powder into it, waited until the flames changed color, and then immediately pushed Cedric into the fireplace. Just say Ministry of Magic Hearth No 22. Cedric shouted quickly and then disappeared. When my eyes lit up again, he was once again in the glorious halls of the Ministry of Magic. There were more reporters this time. However, these hundreds of reporters were all blocked by 2 rows of solemn-looking orators. But there was no obstacle in front of him. Cedric. People on both sides continued to show affection, and at the same time, the flashlight began to shine as if it was free of charge. Cedric waved his hands to both sides. Then he stood there and started observing, coming to the Ministry of Magic Hall that he didn't pay close attention to last time. There are gold coins glowing everywhere here. The floor was a polished wooden floor that was reflective enough, and the sky was inlaid with sparkling golden symbols. There is a fountain directly in front. There is a graceful wizard in the middle of the fountain, pointing his wand to the sky. Around him, there's also a beautiful witch, a centaur, and a carefree in-house elf. It's the morning rush hour right now. Many wizards and witches who came out of the fireplace next door chose to stop and watch after seeing the battle here. Just when Cedric's smile was a little stiff, there was finally a pop behind him. Professor Flitwick walked out of the gold-encrusted fireplace behind him. Professor, you are so slow. Cedric immediately greeted him, and the two stood together, accepting photos from reporters. Slughorn arranged it. Professor Flitwick said in his ear, he said, let you enjoy the moment of taking a solo photo, and then we will take a photo together. Next is your parents, and last is him, have to say. After hearing this, Cedric couldn't help but give him a thumbs up in his heart. This arrangement sounds comfortable. Sure enough, professional things should be left to professionals. Cedric finally stood there for half an hour, shooting from one person to 5 people, and then began to decrease again. Which Weekly, for example, wanted a photo of him alone with his mother. There is also the Monday Wizarding Morning News. I want Professor Flitwick to take a photo with him, the 2 masters and apprentices. There are a lot of requests like this. After Slughorn pulled several people to meet the reporter's requests one by one, he led everyone to a small room to wait. Hey, being famous is hard work. He wiped the sweat from his brow. Then he explained the situation just now. Those reporters are actually easy to deal with and not easy to deal with. If you cooperate just now, and I will chat with them, the articles written will be much better. Certainly. He raised his voice and emphasized, don't say a word to them that you shouldn't say or agree to. Clear. Cedric nodded. He had seen a lot of the madness of the reporters in his previous life. But he is too lazy to bother to deal with this kind of thing. He simply shrugged, I'd better trouble you, sir, to deal with this issue in the future. I can't handle it. Of course, no problem, I'm always waiting for you. Slughorn smiled broadly. He is not afraid of others trouble him, he is just afraid that Cedric will feel that he is not needed. Being able to be troubled by others is also a skill. After everyone rested for a while, the awarding ceremony officially began. This time the ceremony will be much more solemn. What surprised Cedric even more was that on the viewing platform in a circle, the Hogwarts professors headed by Dumbledore occupied a large space. Cedric. Hagrid stood in the last row, waving his arms away from the afterimage and shouting at him silently. In front of him, Dumbledore, Professor McGonagall, Professor Snape, Professor Sprout, and even Filch were all present. Professor Sprout's robes, which were always stained with dirt, were exceptionally clean today. Filch put on the cocky dress given by Cedric. Professor McGonagall's face no longer pretended to be serious. Snape's head was held high, but it was obvious that he had specially washed his hair today. Even Dumbledore had a smile on his face. This is really... Cedric, who had always remained calm, was finally touched. Today is the first day of school at Hogwarts. I didn't expect everyone to come. He lowered his head, widened his eyes, and blinked quickly to calm himself down. Everyone asked me not to say anything. They all want to witness your big day with their own eyes. Professor Flitwick's caring eyes met Cedric's bowed head. You are the pride of many people, Cedric. Damn it. There are more reasons to kill Voldemort. The exciting music interrupted Cedric's thoughts. Let the ceremony begin. Fudge, the short and chubby Minister of Magic, announced. Different from his first appearance in the book, at this time he has not yet felt the danger of the Death Eater's rebellion and Voldemort's resurrection. He is now in the most comfortable time of his life. The whole person is also shiny. Hear his command. A male reporter wearing a black hat walked forward with 2 photographers. Dear Mr. Cedric, Professor Flitwick, before granting you this great honor, we still need to conduct a brief interview. The questions he asked were very formulaic. Like, why did you think of inventing this? Are there any new research directions next? After Cedric's short answer, the other party quickly asked the last question, so, is there anyone you want to thank now? Hear the question. Cedric naturally looked at where the Hogwarts professors were. Certainly. First. 46. First of all, I want to thank my parents. Cedric spoke, and bursts of applause broke out. After a brief laugh, he continued to thank, I want to thank a tall friend of mine who taught me that I shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Hagrid smiled so brightly that he showed 12 big white teeth. Embarrassed, he kept pretending to adjust his clothes. I want to thank a sad and angry friend of mine who made me realize that we actually ignore many people. Filch pursed his lips and nodded fiercely. I would like to thank one of my strict teachers for giving me the opportunity to be exposed to magic earlier. McGonagall's face suddenly showed a loving smile. I would like to thank one of my proud teachers for giving me the opportunity to learn magic beyond waving a wand. Snape's chin, which was already held high, was raised slightly again. I would like to thank my kind dean, who taught me that only by working hard and down to earth can we grow strong herbs. Cedric quickly added, by the way, the dragon dung fertilizer she invented is really useful. Hear this. Professor Sprout, who could still maintain a smile at first, burst into laughter and couldn't help covering his mouth. The audience burst into applause again. In the sound of kind smiles one after another. Cedric finally lowered his head and looked at Professor Flitwick beside him. I would like to thank a powerful teacher of mine who gave me wealth and allowed me to understand the true essence of the curse, at last. His eyes slid over the slightly lonely Dumbledore and landed on Minister Fudge directly in front of him. Certainly. I must also thank the great Headmaster Dumbledore and all the hard-working members of the Ministry of Magic under the leadership of Minister Fudge. Same title. But Dumbledore and Fudge had completely opposite reactions. Although Dumbledore still kept his smile, he was sensitive and aware of the difference between Cedric's treatment of him and other people. Of all the people from Hogwarts, he was the only one whose full name was mentioned. This can be understood as respect, or perhaps it can also be understood as estrangement. Cedric could tell the good qualities of every professor, but he could not tell the good qualities of his principal. But Dumbledore also understood. That's because I already had a grudge against him. He didn't think it was anything at first, but compared with other teachers today, it seemed that he was a little isolated. This feeling. It was so strange to Dumbledore. He has always been respected and supported by others in his life since he was a student, except for the fact that his family has not taken good care of him. Dumbledore also believed that he had sacrificed many things for the wizarding world. Especially when it comes to dealing with the Dark Lord. There was a firm idea in his mind. Harry was the savior, that was absolutely true, even at the cost of his own life. Be sure to protect Harry too. Help Harry to completely destroy Voldemort. As for Cedric, no matter how dazzling and outstanding you are, it is a pity that you are not the savior I am waiting for. Even if I am ignored by you, I will be happy with it. Sorry, Cedric. Although you are very good, you are not the savior. I cannot focus more on you. Voldemort has not been eliminated for a day. I can't relax even for a day. Let the other professors in the college continue to teach you. Dumbledore's eyes gradually became firm, and he once again regained his demeanor as a headmaster. He started clapping and smiling for Cedric. As for Fudge's thoughts, they were indeed completely opposite to his. It is also read as wise. Fudge looked very happy. Although his name still follows Dumbledore, he has been living in the shadow of the enemy for more than a day or two. But Cedric took the credit. That is why the members of the Ministry of Magic under his leadership are all working hard. At that time, let's take a look at Chunkai's brushwork. Just focus on this point, amplify it, circulate it, and then report it. Confirm again after Cedric has finished speaking. Fudge adjusted his spotless pinstripe suit and bright red tie, then cleared his throat. Thank you very much, Mr. Cedric, for your message. I declare the investiture ceremony officially begun. As Fudge's voice fell, the band next to him played a low accompaniment again. Someone nearby used magic to announce loudly, with the unanimous consent of the Ministry of Magic and Lord Merlin. To reward Mr. Cedric and Mr. Flitwick for their outstanding contributions to solving the squib problem. The two of them are hereby awarded the Order of Merlin, First Class, amidst warm applause. With a smile on his face, Fudge took the medal from the waiter and wore it on both of them. First Class Merlin Peerless Regiment Medal. The pure gold medal consists of a finely carved outer ring of wings and a flat surface engraved with the number 1. The green ribbon indicates Merlin's house at Hogwarts. Gentlemen. The cameraman stepped forward again. Please take a photo together to commemorate this great day. As the shutter is pressed, the system prompt sounded again in Cedric's ears. Ding, congratulations on getting the first level Merlin, legendary value +5, reward 1000 gold galleons, 10,000 experience points, reward space backpack 10 spaces, reward herbs, mature mandrake 10, bezoar 1 kg, dry nettle 1 kg, lovage 10, ground snake teeth 1 kg, valerian root 1 kg. A total of 30 kinds of herbs. Ding, you have completed Severus Snape's second life wish. Your spell and potion talents have been upgraded to SS level. Ding, you have completed Pomona Sprout's first and second life wishes. Your herbal talent has been upgraded to SS level. This card has been saved in the card library, the effect is permanent, and the card slot will no longer be consumed. Ding, because the 2 talents of potions and herbs have reached the SS level, you have awakened the special skill Potion Master. Potion Master, when you are researching, innovating, improving, and blending potions, there is a 1% chance that you will have a wonderful idea that meets your expectations, a 10% chance that a clear optimization direction will appear, and a 30% chance that you will have a flash of inspiration, 59% probability of nothing happening. Ding! I moved Cornelius Fudge to success. You get bonus talent points +1, Cornelius Fudge character template card. Ding! Moved Arthur Weasley successfully. You get bonus talent points +1, Arthur Weasley character template card. Cedric's whole body was numb. Good guy. It is indeed the highest honor in the wizarding world. Today's rewards alone are enough for me to study for a long, long time. He also set a new record, by the way. The youngest recipient of the Order of Merlin, first class in history. One can imagine. Cedric should continue to refresh various history. Later time travelers, if they don't have a baby system, they will get rewards starting from eating. It is estimated that it will be impossible to refresh his record. Anyway, Cedric came back with a full load this time, and he quickly enjoyed all the benefits that fame brings. 47. When Cedric walked into the auditorium with the professors, he just discovered it. It turned out that the entire hall had been specially decorated for them. Long golden ribbons were laid out on the high dining table to form the names of Cedric and Flitwick. Under his name it also reads, the youngest recipient of the Order of Merlin, first class in history. The golden plate is filled with fresh fruits. There are mountains of chocolate gold coins on both sides of the road, and candle light shines on the golden floor. Even the little goblin that shuttles among the gold coins is golden. They will occasionally flash, and then spray a large amount of golden bubbles from their fingertips, making the entire venue beautiful. Golden fairies appear in the sky from time to time. They would use various licorice candies as arrows and shoot them at people passing by. Dumbledore hugged the two protagonists and shouted to everyone, Cedric! Professor Flitwick! Our hero! Applause! Professor Flitwick personally directed the choir to start playing. In the blink of an eye, all kinds of food are spread out on the table. But what appears above are all recipes that Cedric gave to the house elves. Apparently today is Cedric's food special. Cedric also let go of himself temporarily. He raised his cup and toasted from one end of the Hufflepuff long table to the other. Then there are the other three colleges. This day was so crazy for them. Cedric began to rest afternoon, and it was not until the next morning that he finally woke up. But there is still a lot to do. For example, he received a task yesterday. Let him collaborate with Professor Flitwick to complete a magic oil painting. This oil painting is of the same specifications as those hanging in Hogwarts Castle. It has portraits of the two of them, showing how they received the award. In the following time, they need to selectively inject their own memories into it, and then finally cast activation magic, so that a movable character oil painting will be completed. This kind of oil painting is very expensive. If it weren't for the special funding granted by the Ministry of Magic, ordinary people would really not be able to afford it. But Cedric was in no hurry. He planned to wait until he had read all the knowledge in the 3rd grade before putting in the memory containing this part of the knowledge. In this way, my oil paintings can answer various questions in the future. But the aftermath of the Order of Merlin has not yet passed. Not long after Cedric sat down at the long table in the morning, he suddenly heard the flapping of a large number of wings. This sound is not ordinary movement. It almost caught up with the roar of the plane's engine. Everyone was stunned for a few seconds. Then I saw all kinds of owls flying in, overwhelming and dark. They quickly split up in the air. Some idle ones spread out. And more people flew towards Cedric than all the other students combined. A legion of owls. It was like opening an owl exhibition. Cedric had never thought before that there were so many kinds of owls in the world. But he soon stopped laughing. Not good. Cedric's reaction was extremely quick. Armor protection proto-go. Armor protector proto-go. Armor protector proto-go. Looking at the densely packed owls above his head but unable to get down, his anxious heart calmed down again. Fortunately, there is a magic spell. Otherwise, wouldn't I be afraid that I would become the first person in history to be crushed to death by an owl? This is such an exaggeration. I really don't know how my parents cope with these owls at home. Cedric didn't dare waste even a moment. He is agile and strikes like lightning. Quickly pull the envelopes, gift boxes, etc. dropped by the owls under your feet, so that more owls can put down the things in their talons. After all, only when things are delivered will they fly away from here. Help me quickly. Cedric responded to every call. The Hufflepuffs around him all ran over with faces of honor and began to help him sort out today's harvest. The little badgers had bright smiles on their faces. These 2 days are as happy as a holiday. Cedric began to direct. The individual letters are all put together. If there is a gift attached, put the letter with the gift. We need a gift in return. Help me move a little bit first. After everything is done, we will deal with it together. Cedric opened it himself, starting with the largest gift. The largest gift box was a broomstick, and when he saw the sender, he saw that Dumbledore had bought it for him. Take it apart and take a look. It is actually the latest Nimbus 1990, which seems to have cost him a lot. How strange. He hasn't developed his template yet, but he gives himself such a big gift? Forget it, forget about this now. Cedric continued to open the remaining gifts. It was as if the professors had made an appointment, and there were no duplicates from everyone. All in all. From dresses to shoes, plus study books, cauldrons, and more. The professors all gave him a new set. Even the props for stirring the crucible and cutting the magic potion are equipped with a set of pure gold. Next came letters and gifts from fans. It is divided into 3 major categories. There are many of them. I have met them all at those banquets, or from my parents' colleagues and friends. Now Cedric has a good memory. After he went through the names, he could almost associate the names with their names. The gifts they give are relatively expensive. Cedric needs to record it and then give them gifts in return. These people are not pure fans, but have the connection attribute bonus. Next are the passerby fans. There are 2 types here. A very small number of them are real users who see results after exercising and then write letters of thanks. The gifts given are also valuable. But there is no need to reciprocate these gifts. Cedric is going to write them some exercise suggestions. What they need more is this. Even if it's just a few words of comfort. For them now, that is the most important thing. Finally, the largest number of fans are sisters, aunts, and mothers. Most of them became his fans after seeing his deeds and his good looks. There are many of them. Many parents of classmates expressed hope between the lines that Cedric could take care of and guide their children. Their gifts are mainly handmade pastries. These letters do not require a return gift, but if the other party can get a reply, it will be of great help to your reputation. Think of this. Cedric immediately settled once more, Horace Slughorn's first wish. The first item, discover the bright stars of the future, please become a future star that satisfies him. Stage rewards, the more famous you are, the more experience points and talent points you can get. Settlement in progress. Based on your current fame, you will receive 50,000 experience points and 7 talent points, hiss. This gentleman has given so much. Although he is very famous now, after all, this is the first day of reporting by the Daily Prophet. And he settled the bill at breakfast. Presumably the next half-month will be when his popularity is on the rise. 5,500 experience points are enough to upgrade a level 1 spell to full level 10. Plus these 50,000 experience points. Cedric currently has 69,100 experience points, 11 talent points, and even 10 11ths legendary points. After all these are consumed, Cedric felt that he was terrifyingly strong. Not to mention, there are still several character templates in his system that he has not yet confirmed. Just thought of character templates. The system prompt sounded again in Cedric's mind, ding, you moved Fred Weasley successfully. You get bonus talent points +1. Fred Weasley character template card. Ding, you moved George Weasley successfully. You get bonus talent points +1, George Weasley character template card. Okay. Add 2 points to the talent, and add 2 points to the unconfirmed character template. But why now? Cedric looked at the Gryffindor table with confusion, and saw the 2 of them walking towards him coquettishly. 48. What's up? Cedric looked at the 2 brothers with a playful look. He really wanted to know. Even though I sponsored their dreams, I didn't move them to come up with a template. Why did they just come out with a template today? Under his gaze, the 2 brothers were even more embarrassed. Fred was trembling, and it took him a long time to open his mouth. Our mother hopes that you can give us some academic guidance. George answered with all his strength. I see. The case is solved. The case is solved. As expected, the only one who can control you is Mrs. Weasley. Cedric's words made both brothers blush. The key is that Mrs. Weasley said that if they don't go to Cedric, the next one will be a howling letter. Find it alone. Or get a yelling letter from your mother in the mail, they will still make this choice. This also has something to do with their performance in school. Although they no longer play tricks on their classmates, they still resell candy, run Quidditch betting, and pay people to test medicines, often playing tricks on their classmates. Various things have caused a lot of noise. Percy had been reporting a lot since he got home, and there would also be feedback from the professor, so when Mrs. Weasley saw the news about Cedric, she got mad at the two brothers. Cedric even doubted it. After he moved Arthur Weasley yesterday, he probably talked to his wife a lot when he went back. That's why the current situation has arisen. But you are our boss. Fred was extremely depressed. Why do we get scolded, but you get praised? George was extremely aggrieved. Because from the beginning, I sincerely wanted to help you open a funny store. I didn't take your dream as a joke. I have been sponsoring and helping you, but you have always regarded me as an enemy and a bad person. At least people cannot and should not be like this. Cedric found an empty box of snacks that had been divided. Then he reached out from his arms, actually from the system, took out 200 gold galleons, put them inside, and then handed them to the two brothers. He's getting a lot of rewards these days. These expenses are nothing, as long as I can hold more shares in the funny store. Although the Weasley twins love to play tricks, there is still some credit for this. What's more, we can take this opportunity to make this matter more official between the two brothers. Take it and treat it as my additional investment. Giving the money to the two brothers, Cedric added, I will send greetings to Mrs. Weasley, and I will tell her that developing candy is also a talent, and I will try my best to help you. It's just that I hope you take me seriously as your boss. You know, right now, I have a page of research reports and I haven't even seen a single product. Fred. George. Gemini, who was holding a box of gold galleons in a daze, was quickly squeezed out by the Hufflepuffs who were helping to sort out the items. The two brothers were shocked. For the first time, they watched Cedric's actions carefully. He was replying frantically. For every pastry sent by mail, he would first cut it and taste it himself, share the rest, and then carefully write a reply. As for the little badgers, some were helping him record the list of gifts, and some were handing out cakes. These pastries are delivered to all tables. As long as you want to give it a try, you can get a piece of it all. Cedric replied very seriously. He would read every word and then write it down with a magic quill. I feel like the wording is bad. He will delete it again and write it again. Soon, they also heard Cedric's letter to their mother. Dear Mrs. Weasley, thank you for your letter. What you may not know is that before you wrote to me, I already knew Fred and George. With all due respect, they are very talented classmates. I also got to know his brothers, Bill and George. Charlie and Percy are all very good wizards. I was so surprised when I found out this. You teach each of your children so well. It must have taken a lot of energy from you. You must be the best mother. For various reasons, I was lucky enough to become the captain of Key Earth. I was thinking at the time, a Quidditch formation is so complicated, but you have raised 7 children perfectly, and each of them is so outstanding. This is something that is truly worthy of a medal. I believe that your youngest son and daughter will also be excellent wizards in the future. I will look forward to getting to know them. But then again, liveliness is exactly the talent of Fred and George. Just think about it, how many wizards can create so many funny magic candies in the first grade, which proves that they have amazing talents in magic, and we all like them very much. Cedric was still talking endlessly. One can imagine. Given his sincerity, this reply will definitely be heavy enough to satisfy Mrs. Weasley. After all, her children are her greatest pride. The two brothers were struck by lightning. Cedric actually knows so much about them? Not really investigated. Who knows about their brothers? He even knew about Ronald and Ginny. It's not a secret though. But if you want to say it immediately, you must have known it before, and you are not pretending to care when you ask now. The most terrible thing is, Fred and George truly loved their mother, Mrs. Weasley. The two of them listened. My mood is getting more and more uncomfortable, and my mood is getting lower and lower. Giloo. Fred swallowed hard. Did we really blame him wrongly? George wasn't much better. He blinked quickly and said a little lostly, we were the ones provoking him from the beginning, right? As soon as the chat boxes opened, the two of them couldn't stop blaming themselves. During the night cruise, he was the one who persuaded Filch to let us go. He also gave us money, a large amount of money, which is enough for us to research and develop with peace of mind. I gave you more this time, and this letter. Damn it, we are obviously the same age, why can he actually understand his mother's hard work now, but we seem to ignore it. We are living a life so heartless. Why is there such a big difference between people? Brother, we should take this boss seriously. We will report on the research progress next time. Agree, otherwise I really don't know how to face Cedric. Damn it, are there really such true, kind, and beautiful human beings in the world? Stop talking, I'm afraid that in the middle of my sleep at night, I'll sit up and slap myself twice. The two brothers left in despair. And Cedric's busy schedule has just begun. 49. It's too late, move your things back to the dormitory first. Cedric shouted. The Hufflepuffs took action one after another, each holding a bunch of them and running towards the dormitory. But this is not enough. There were many gifts that were relatively large, and each person could only take one, and that was without giving up all the remaining pastries. Let's come too. The Slytherin next door couldn't hold it any longer. The cheers of the Hufflepuffs just now have made them envious for a long time, and they finally found some sense of presence for themselves. With their help, soon everything was moved to the door of Hufflepuff's dormitory. Cedric, you are completely famous now. Sure enough, you are synonymous with victory. We made a robe that would be a perfect gift for you. The Slytherins left their things and gifts and left. Cedric didn't care at first. It was only later that he discovered that this robe was actually their Slytherin standard robe. The little badgers suddenly became angry again. If this hadn't been given as a gift, it would have been torn into pieces immediately. Cedric was quite amused and kept it. The next half-month, he devoted all his attention to replying to letters. The main reason is that he has already calculated it, because fame brings a lot of experience points, which is faster than his own hard training. It is also very flexible and can be added to any spell. As for Mr. Slughorn, he spent 500 gold galleons, enough to buy a bottle of fire dragon blood for him. This material is very easy to sell and retains its value very well. It also looks much better than sending money directly. But this bottle of fire dragon blood added 50,000 experience points and 3 talent points to him. Added to the increase in replies, Ling Yun now has 201,300 experience points, 15 talent points, and 10 11ths legendary points. Compared to before getting the medal, there have been earth-shaking changes. Only then did he have time to look at the template. Template card, Cornelius Oswald Fudge Talent, 3rd-rate Master Wizard, Magic plus 5 points, upper limit 80 points. Life Wish List, Item 1, Minister of Magic, become the Minister of Magic. Already self-satisfied. Item 2, Greed for money, like gifts given by others. This can be accomplished by giving him a gift worth over 10,000 gold galleons. Completing this wish list will prevent this template card from occupying the slot of the template card. Is this okay? The weirdness of this template shocked Cedric. Unexpectedly, I still have the desire to satisfy myself. Moreover, the second wish in life is actually to ask for money. 10,000 gold galleons for 5 points of magic power. Although Mr. Slughorn also loves money and enjoyment, others can also provide connections, and his approach is more subtle and introverted. He even has a shrewd knowledge of potions and people. You are obviously a corrupt official who clearly marked the price. No wonder he was even called Death Eater without mark, Honorary Death Eater, etc. This template. His success changed his impression in Cedric's mind from an incompetent minister to a pig teammate who could not be brought along, and an invisible accomplice of the murderer. Wait until the time is right. He must not be allowed to sit in the position of Minister of Magic again. Think back carefully. In the previous life, the golden time of Voldemort's first year after his return was wasted by this guy. He is really a sinner of the people. I blamed myself for praising him when I was awarded the medal. I blamed myself for being too excited and ignoring his bad behavior. Now that I think about it, it's really disgusting. It took Cedric a while to calm down, and he shook his head and started checking the next person's template card. Template card, Arthur Weasley Talent, 3rd-rate Master Wizard, Magic plus 5 points, upper limit 80 points. Special Talent, Excellent Popularity. This skill can make you appear more approachable. Except for a few people who have completely opposite personalities to you, you can quickly build relationships with most people. Life wish list. Item 1. Obsessed with technology. Explain modern technology to him and you can increase your magic power from +5 points to +10 points. The second item. Children become talented. 7 children grow up successfully and recognized. Stage rewards. Every time a woman reaches adulthood, you can get corresponding rewards such as experience points, talent points, magic potions, etc. Item 3. Deep love between husband and wife. Please become a friend that he loves his wife deeply and likes. Completing this wish list will prevent this template card from occupying the slot of the template card. And get special skills and good luck. Good luck. When you are really short of money, within 3 days, you will unexpectedly get a fortune. The contrast between these two is really obvious. Have your own hobbies, pay attention to your children, and at the same time love your wife deeply. Cedric nodded repeatedly. He had to admit it. Mr. Weasley's behavior and values are very consistent with his definition of a good husband and a good father. And he is very brave. In the original work, the Weasley family will all join the Order of the Phoenix, and this is certainly inseparable from the influence of his father. You also have to make up for the advantage of being extremely popular. Cedric remembered. Except for people like Malfoy. Mr. Weasley is friends with many colleagues, including his father, and even the sensitive and suspicious Mad-Eye Moody is among his friends. And the rewards are very good. 10 points of magic power can completely make up for the gap in your own magic power. Tasks that don't occupy the template are also very promising. That afternoon, Cedric leaned by Hufflepuff's fire and wrote his first letter to Mr. Arthur Weasley. Hello, dear Mr. Arthur Weasley. I'm sorry that I wrote my first letter to you only after corresponding with your wife 3 times. I just realized that, in addition to me being good friends with your son, you are also close friends with my father. We even live not far from each other. What is even more amazing is that I am also very obsessed with Muggle studies. I think this is really a wonderful fate. Cedric described the concept of electricity as best he could in his letter. And also promised. Next time if I have a chance to go to the Muggle world, I will definitely bring him a hand-operated generator as a gift. To ensure the power of this letter, Cedric also briefly introduced him to the positive and negative poles, including the concepts of parallel and series connections. Judging from Mr. Weasley's obsession with technology in the original book, as long as I take a junior high school physics book, I can completely defeat him. 10 points of magic. This is really a reward far more generous than 200,000 experience points. It's so exciting just thinking about it. After sending this envelope full of bait, Cedric opened the Gemini character template without stopping again. 50. It's really in line with my expectations. Even the special talents and rewards are so unique. Cedric looked at the template of the Weasley twins and smiled as expected. Template card, Fred Weasley. Talent, third-rate master wizard, magic +5 points, upper limit 80 points. Special talent, April Fool's Day Gemini, twins born on April Fool's Day, favored by the god of fools, will make it easier for you to see what people care about most. Gemini is very good at ridiculing this pain point. P.S. Their jokes will always make you crazy, but it's hard for you to really hate them. Life wish list. The first item, organize a day trip to the Forbidden Forest, or any form of honor for the great cause of trickery. Completing this wish list will earn you 3 legendary points. Item 2, make a lot of money in a joke store and buy a big house for your mother. Completing this wish list will prevent this template card from occupying the slot of the template card. Item 3, protect the happiness of the Weasley family. The Weasley family is all happy and harmonious. Ladder rewards. For every year that the Weasley family spends safely, you will immediately receive rewards such as experience points, gold galleons, potions, legendary points, and a 1-space backpack. Template card, George Weasley. Talent, third-rate master wizard, magic +5 points, upper limit 80 points. Special talent, April Fool's Day Gemini, twins born on April Fool's Day, favored by the god of fools, will make it easier for you to see what people care about most. Gemini is very good at ridiculing this pain point. P.S. Their jokes will always make you crazy, but it's hard for you to really hate them. Life wish list. Number 1, organize a night out at Hogwarts, or whatever honors the cause of trickery. Completing this wish list will earn you 3 legendary points. Item 2, protect the Weasley family. All the Weasley family is safe. Ladder rewards. For every year that the Weasley family spends safely, you will immediately receive rewards such as experience points, gold galleons, potions, legendary points, and a one-space backpack. Item 3. Become a son who satisfies his mother. Completing this wish list will prevent this template card from occupying the slot of the template card. Special achievement tips: if you complete the Gemini 2-person template, you will open the pet space and get a cub of a random magical creature. Before seeing the template clearly, Cedric felt that it was still difficult for him to distinguish the two. But after reading it, he found that there were still subtle differences between the two. First of all, there is no doubt that both of them are fun-loving people, which is why they are so in sync. But it's obvious. Fred was more high-profile, while George was more reserved. For example, for the same feelings towards his mother, Fred would care more about external glory. Make a lot of money and buy a big house. Those are all relatively external and can be seen and touched. George, on the other hand, is more concerned with his heart. What he wants to be is a son who satisfies his mother. This emotion is more subtle and delicate. What Fred wants is liveliness and fun. Just like a child, he always likes the lively and crowded spring festival. When they were young, many children may not understand. Everyone has been having so much fun these days, why should they be separated? This represents his jumping out and mobility. George just hopes that everyone can be safe. The pursuit of this idea is lower, which also means that he is more realistic and rational than Fred. He is indeed the gentler and more attentive one. In the original book, Harry met the Geminis for the first time when George saw that Harry was struggling to push the cart and called Fred to help. That's why no one can hate them. They will play tricks on you. But it will also comfort you at critical moments. For example, they have comforted many students who were tortured by pink toads. What they really bring is joy. They play tricks on others, but they can also afford to play tricks on themselves, and they also make fun of themselves. Honest people will always suffer some losses. Aunt May finally chose the reason for Fred's death. That's what she thinks. If it was George who died, Fred, who was not so thoughtful, might not be able to get out of this life. So she left the pain to George. But George was actually not much better. Since his death, every mirror George sees is Eris sunglasses. He married Fred's ex-girlfriend Angelina Johnson and named one of their children Fred. We can't live without Fred. Oops. Cedric rubbed his brow. The more I read through the character templates, the more and more reasons I have for wanting to kill Voldemort. So many people died. Harry Potter, really a children's book? It seems that I really need to find an opportunity to go to the Burrow. More and more character templates are related to Mrs. Weasley. Just writing a letter is not enough. Cedric added a new goal for his summer vacation. That's it. All character templates have been sorted out. In the days that followed, Cedric continued to reply to letters while frantically reading books up to 3rd grade. This frenzied reading made his perception of time numb. Until the Quidditch match at the end of the month. Only then did Cedric emerge from this state. In the enthusiastic cheers of the little wizards, the entire Hogwarts seemed to come alive. Follow your friends all the way. Listen to everyone's encouragement. Cedric also recalled that he still had the identity of Hufflepuff Quidditch captain. Talk about it. I have forgotten to organize training for the past half-month, and no one actually went to see him. This is really Hufflepuff, and he is too happy-go-lucky. But Cedric still felt guilty about it. And he was more worried. He would lose the honor of Quidditch Cup. So when he came to the team members, he had already earned non-waste royalties and promised directly, "Sorry everyone, as compensation, I will buy everyone a Nimbus 1990 broomstick." Morale was instantly boosted. As a little wizard, who doesn't want a cool broomstick of his own? Cedric, you are our king. I love you so much. This is the best gift of my year. Looking at the excited little badgers, Cedric raised his right hand high. Let's win and then buy our own broomstick. Ever since, the Slytherins were all prepared to face Hufflepuff, whose morale was extremely high. Plus, Cedric riding Nimbus 1990. This is more than twice as powerful as the Academy's broomstick. Cedric completely transformed into the Son of the Wind. He shuttled around the court wantonly, moving nimbly like a fish swimming in the water. He not only interfered with the opponent's offense, but also successfully caught the golden snitch again. 190 to 20 points. Hufflepuff bloodbathed Slytherin. Wait until Slytherin competes with Ravenclaw again. Halloween Eve. Cedric led Hufflepuff, who was riding a brand new broomstick, to defeat Gryffindor again, 180-30. Hufflepuff after 23 years. Won the honor of Quidditch championship again. After the Quidditch match ended, the first year courses had reached the final sprint stage. Professor's workload has multiplied. And when everyone is cheering for the final exam, Cedric is already working on new gadgets. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.